I refused to accept help from my father's girlfriend. It ruined our relationship.
Well, I mean, can't you, help yourself?
There's a lot of background, but the main issue that while injured and in pain, I kept telling my teachers and paramedics that I only wanted my dad, who was 2 hours away at work. I also said I didn't want his girlfriend to come with me to the hospital. The relationship we had wasn't bad, but now is particularly ruined because of me. By the way, this comes from Bakersfield Puppy, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/storytime subreddit. So my birth mom lost custody of me. I don't blame her. She was a single teen mom without any support except my grandparents, who were really not good people. They forced her to keep me, didn't let her graduate high school, and then got mad when she couldn't make enough money to pay them rent immediately. They punted us out as soon as she turned 18. She couldn't get in contact with my bio dad for a while, and she fell into substances. She wasn't herself when she was high. The courts were able to reunite me with my dad, and she tried for a while to get and stay clean so she could still have partial custody. But regular substance abuse is a sickness. I think she had me too young to be able to overcome it for the sake of her love for me. My dad has always been everything I need. He was with another woman when we first reunited. And when that woman expressed that she didn't want to be a mother, that it wasn't the path she wanted, he gave up his relationship with her because he wanted to keep me. I feel stupid and ridiculous, like I have double standards because in a lot of ways, my bio mom sacrificed for me too. But he's the one who has been able to consistently make those sacrifices to keep my safety and happiness his priority. His new girlfriend is really nice, and I want to make a point to acknowledge that. She's never mean to me. Before the incident, she was kind of distant and awkward, and she didn't spend much time with me when we were all together, which I get. I'm not hers. And I'm basically that janky, cheap free gift you get in cereal that you end up throwing out.
Hey now. That's a little too negative on the self-talk.
Yeah, and also I look forward to that.
Yeah, I still have the decoder rings that I got in the cereal boxes when the Star Trek movie came out in like 2008. Boom. I still have it.
Dakota's got the decoder rings.
So I keep them.
Our interests don't line up either, which doesn't help. I'm practically out of the house anyway, 15, just a few more years. So I try not to make any waves with her. We had a decent thing going. She's going to be around a lot more and for longer than I will over the same 5 years. If we look at typical timelines, because I'll be in college, but she makes my dad happy. She does love him. I had an accident at school a while ago that I'm still recovering from. I also injured my classmate pretty badly. Got a fight.
Oh, I wonder what happened. No, it was an accident. I mean, it could be a fight. Maybe she's not saying it.
I still feel guilty because
he fell down the stairs.
I still feel guilty because it was ultimately my fault. So, it does seem...
Oh, I think they're going to explain, actually. Let's keep going.
We were both getting too heated and competitive, but I should have been more careful. We collided way too hard when we went down. Everything went wrong.
Basketball.
Oh, got it. My right knee twisted with a bad angle and bent when my classmate fell on top of me. I broke my nose and eye socket. Oof. Tore my ACL, moderately sprayed my MCL, and tore the lining of my hip joint in the fall.
Whoa.
Dude, you were going like... so hard. Did you stretch at all?
What?
Was this?
Wow, well, I'm glad you're in the repair process.
In one go or what?
Holy crap.
I had a blowout fracture and a non-displaced fracture in my femur.
I feel like OP's bragging at this point.
I gave her a dead leg, bruised her hip so badly she needed months of physical therapy, and cracked her ribs. What were you guys doing?
Maybe they were... I don't know. That's a violent basketball exchange.
I've never heard of anything like that.
Riley's taking notes right now.
The worst I've ever seen is the Tyler Zeller UNC. Remember that?
I don't.
I remember the one where it was
the Louisville one?
The Louisville one?
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
The Final Four?
Oh, bro.
God.
You're like, how does that even happen?
The worst one I've seen was from that comedian Tom Segura. Literally just like going in for like a whatever. He was just like just doing a normal thing, and he like jumped, and his like leg gave out, and then he landed, and he like
yeah, we don't want that. We don't stop.
No, it was just like a freak accident. But this sounds like football.
I don't know what happened.
MMA.
On top of that,
rugby.
She got a straddle injury and a serious concussion from the fall. The school obviously had my dad's contact, but he travels a lot for work, so he was nearly out of state when this happened. He had already given them his girlfriend's phone number as an emergency contact so they could alert her and have her go with me to the hospital. But I kept saying no. I only wanted my dad, and I didn't want her. I was even screaming and crying at the EMTs when they got there. I wasn't thinking at the time, I was hurting, and it wasn't clicking in my mind that my dad was far away, that I needed someone, a trusted adult who helps take care of me, there. I didn't realize she was there at first. It feels like I unalived any chance I had at a relationship with her. Okay, you're pretty hard on yourself.
Yeah, a lot of negative self-talk. Let's be more positive.
Maybe after I move out, we could have been friendly. I don't think she could act like a mom to me, but we could both love my dad, and that should have been enough to build off of. She's been really quiet around me ever since. She barely talks to me. She only spends time with me if dad is there too, and we live in the same house. She's gotten up and left the room to stay away. She'll drop me off at physical therapy if she has to, but won't come in. She barely ever says good night or good morning, even if I say it first. After my surgery, Dad took care of me mostly, but if he has work, she would wake up and give me my medicine, then leave me alone for hours. I never noticed until she stopped that she sometimes called me by the same nickname I like that Dad calls me, and sometimes a different nickname. But now she doesn't use any nicknames at all. It's like going from Mads to Maddie to Madeline all the time, or from Lexi and Alex to Alexandria. Even though there are less formal but still impressionable nicknames she used to use.
I don't know. Like, I think the way that you address this is you just need to like have a open dialogue about it. Like, I don't think either of you actually know where the other one is at. It sounds like OP is just kind of connecting the dots herself, and from the sound of it, it sounds like the girlfriend just thinks OP doesn't want anything to do with her anyway.
Yeah, this is all she's being rude. The mom, yeah. I just think you need to, like Dakota said, a sit down and less assumptions.
Yeah, just put it all out.
The girlfriend did say she didn't want to be a mom.
Well, sure, but you don't have to be someone's mom just to like be, you know, a little tighter with them. You know,
she's hurting being childish. I should have acted better. I don't know how to fix this. I know my dad can see things are weird between us. He keeps trying to sit me down and ask, but I don't want to tell him that I screamed at everyone that I didn't want her. I embarrassed her. I was a brat. I didn't want him to be disappointed, but I'm afraid he already knows what happened. Now, every time I say everything's fine, I disappoint him more like it's a lie. I know it was stupid and cruel, and it's my fault. I should have let her come with me to the hospital because she was literally right there, and my dad was hours away. I'm pretty sure I offended her and embarrassed her. I made it seem like we could never be friendly or cordial, like I'll never allow it to be better than that. Now we have to be this distant, sort of polite. I'm screwing up my dad's life and his chance at happiness again because I can't be nice to the person who loves him with the F. I need to fix this. I don't know where to begin. We got enough.
Dude, like, I feel like OP's like a teenager. Oh, well then, yeah. Okay, so now all of this makes sense. You're just 15. So of course you're like in your head about all this, but you just need to like, oh, it's so hard to say that to a 15-year-old though, because it's like so hard to actually do that with no foundation to work off of. I don't know, like the perspective that like your dad's girlfriend is fundamentally like the same person as you, even though you're 15 and she's an adult, like y'all are still both like people with feelings and like y'all need to talk out what y'all went through in that experience. You had a traumatic accident. She is, I mean, not a stranger, but
would be great.
She's not your mom. She made it clear she's not your mom. So it's fair that maybe you want someone like tighter to you, like your dad.
And also on top of this, an apology. I'm sorry for what I said. Right. I regret it. I want us to be close.
Yeah, just put it all out there.
Update. I talked to her and my dad a bunch, like for hours today, off and on. We had to take breaks for water, my medicine, and so I could sleep because the painkillers make it hard to stay awake. And so do emotional talks. I'll make a full post in a minute, but it's a good outcome ultimately. I'm happy with it. I'm also exhausted, so maybe tomorrow. Sorry if so. Thank you, everyone. I also plan to respond to all of your comments. Update. As before, the main thing is she apologized. Dad apologized. They refused to let me take any blame for my part in it. Therapy is on the table, and I likely have to do it. Her and I both want a relationship, and both are scared. First of all, I'm starting to realize I don't see how people actually intend to act towards me. I see what's safer to anticipate, which is that they're going to want to move on as soon as they can, and they're going to be putting up with the situation until then, or that they resent me and would do something to hurt me as a result. I decide on the other person's motives and thoughts for them because I hedge my bets to feel safe. It's something my previous therapist tried to tell me I was doing, but when I was younger then and didn't like him at all, so I didn't listen. I realized it generally makes me feel uncomfortable when someone shows affection, even when I want comfort and to feel loved, because I don't want the inevitable next step in the cycle, which is some sort of abuse. Man, that is so complicated. At least she knows it. I feel like people can know things about themselves, like they can be told it, but they have to live and walk it in order to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between like, I don't know how old you were in that first therapy session, but it's like, I feel like at 15, it's like you're starting to get there, but you're still nowhere near. You're at the very beginning of just starting to experience like the inklings of independence, at least on like, I feel like a typical track. Like some kids get parentified like super early.
Whatever, I mean, I'm now at the age where I know what I like and what I want to do. Takes a while.
It does. It can.
They haven't put me through that cycle though, and they never have. Not even the cold distance she was doing. But I'm still scared. I'm scared that maybe I do go to therapy and they make it so I'm not so cautious anymore. And then I find myself in another situation where I wouldn't have been hurt or blindsided if I wasn't stupid about it and too trusting.
Okay, pause, because it takes rain and sunshine to make a rainbow. If you close yourself off to the possibility of pain, you also close yourself off to the possibility of joy.
Wow.
It's like they're two sides of the same coin.
Dang.
So if you're too closed off, you can't experience the good or the bad.
It's probably the smartest thing I've ever heard you say on this podcast. Actually, probably the smartest thing I've ever heard you say ever.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, now kiss.
I still...
Wait.
No. Don't tell me what to do. I feel like I'm your... Never mind, I'm not going to say that. I still feel horrible for refusing her. But they wouldn't let me apologize. Wouldn't accept it unless it was for bottling it up and trying to handle it on my own because it was too much for just me. It's also like you all said. And so did she. And so did my dad. She hasn't been around in my life as long. We aren't as close as I am to my dad. I was not well. And I certainly wasn't thinking beyond the only safe person I knew would help me and make the pain stop. She apologized a lot too, the way I reacted, even though she knew not to take offense to the cursing and pushing her away because I was in pain. She said it still felt like it said a lot that instinctually I didn't feel safe with her near. She realized her presence was not calming like Dad's would have been, so she backed off and handled things behind the scenes because she didn't want me to get any more panicked and overwhelmed by forcing her presence there. Then, while I was in surgery, she thought over things, how we talked to each other, the disconnect of physical affection or any sort of affection, and she felt like she had realized months too late that she had overstepped big time. She apologized for assuming that and said it wasn't what I deserved. Okay.
Look at that.
All right.
We're getting on the same page.
We are approaching that. What page number are we on?
We're probably on like page I don't know, 78 out of 90.
78 out of 90?
We're like right there. Yep. We're like finish
right
line
there.
type.
We're close.
We're almost there.
We're now turning the heavy page to 80.
Yeah.
To 90.
This is like, we're kind of already, that was the climb. I feel like we're in the falling action now.
I feel like we still got some climax here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
It's got a false bottom.
Maybe. Assuming that showed a lack of trust in me and overruled a chance to have a real talk sooner. She said again that we should have a talk by now so she could actually know me and my feelings versus her beliefs about them, and not to treat me like I can't have a conversation with many complex relationships, roles, and emotions flying around. She and Dad both said I was mature in a lot of ways. She repeated that she was only explaining her behavior and thought process so I wouldn't try to take responsibility for it. Okay. I love that these adults are taking this situation and putting it on their shoulders because they don't want to put that on OP.
Right, and they shouldn't because she's 15.
She's 15. And yeah, OP probably did like some things she could have done better, but
yeah,
that's her natural reaction.
Well, you're 15. If there's everything that you do when you're a teenager, you could probably do better. Yeah. Anything you can do right now, you can probably do better. I mean, but in this context, it's like the adults need to be the ones taking point, and they need to be the ones who are taking the emotional, not burden, but like, the onus. Yeah. It's like we have to be the ones to address and fix this and help teach her how to emotionally regulate and have these kind of discussions that are not easy. Mm-hmm. Not easy to bring this kind of stuff up to somebody.
It's hard.
It's uncomfortable.
None of it excused the way she acted, and it doesn't erase the stress and pain she put me through because of it. I don't remember exactly how she said it, but she told me that she is responsible for managing her reactions to her perceptions and for checking them to make sure she isn't unknowingly feeding a negative loop and causing hurt. I get why she kept insisting I shouldn't blame myself, and they both told me not to. How is it not my fault that I misread her being quieter and trying to give me space and took it so personally that she stepped away? Even if she says she pulled back way too much, that she should have never stopped saying good morning or good night every time, that she should have said something sooner to start the conversation instead of leaving it to me. I had given her every reason to want to pull away that far. They said it was very thoughtful of me and showed how much compassion I have for others. But I shouldn't have had this on my mind at all. I shouldn't have felt the need to apologize. I should be focused on recovering, and I should have been able to rely on them to get this sorted out. I mean, yeah, it does sound like a lot of behind the scenes happened in order for like the mother-in-law and OP to be on the same page.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, it does sound like they were both feeding into like the worst situation in their heads.
Yeah.
They're like, this is what's going on. I'm not going to check in because it's easier to not confront the negative emotions and stuff. And I'm just going to live in it instead. It's like, maybe they can both learn from this,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I know that.
Finally, a wholesome communication story. I didn't know these existed.
They're rare. They're like shiny Pokemon.
They do happen.
They're out there, but they're impossible to find.
For a while after the accident, Dad kept trying to get me to open up, but I wouldn't. She didn't know if I was actually okay with the way she was treating me after the accident, and she said she was too scared to broach it, and upset me while I was injured. She let that get in the way of making sure I wasn't scared and alone. She said she was proud of the courage and integrity I showed, not just with this talk, but in other things. That was kind of nice. I feel bad because I don't know how to accept praise or say thank you for it. Dad says I need to go back to therapy, even if I don't want to, because they're worried about quite a few things. They're worried about how I reacted that day, even giving grace for being in pain. I reacted as if I was terrified of her specifically. I don't remember that. I just remember not wanting her and wanting my dad.
Yeah, dude, let's be honest here. The description of her injury is like one of the most horrific injuries I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, described by like, I don't know, like a random, it happened at school.
Yeah.
Like it was a school sports accident. I've never heard anything that crazy.
I'm still confused by what happened.
It's gotta be like, she went up for like a slam or something, or she tried. I don't know. But that other girl came down on top of her, like orbital socket, ACL, MCL. Like
I think it was
she cracked her ribs. That's how hard she went into her.
I think a charge.
Yeah, who knows? But the person landed on top of OP. We're gonna have
she
to like
charge.
We're gonna have to draw this out on like on like a half court and see what the heck happened.
So a charge in basketball is basically when you stand very still and the offensive player runs into you and you fall. That's a charge.
You sacrifice your body and then they can't make the shot and it's a foul.
I've had some pretty rough ones.
Dude, I bet you're sturdy. I bet you're sturdy though.
Not when a 7-foot tall muscular man is approaching you.
Just you're looking up like
I was like barely.
But you ate that. You took that charge. That's what matters.
Had some girls in the stands ready to fight for me.
Oh,
they were like, I was about to get out there and not I'm like, Abby, it's okay. Abby and Chrissy, it's fine. The biggest part of that was I took the post I wrote and gave it to them to read. My dad looked like he was going to cry. They both asked if I wanted a hug or just dad or any combination. I did, but I didn't feel ready. I feel like such a stupid child saying that, but they both just treated me and my ability to decide as if it was okay, not shameful, and said the offer wouldn't expire if I changed my mind. My dad asked me if I really thought like that, if I thought I wasn't the most important part of his life, if I thought I was some sort of crappy gag prize he got stuck with. Because no matter how he got me, he's happy as my dad, and neither of them think I'm anything less than a perfect gift. His girlfriend ended up opening up much more and elaborating. She said a lot more that is very personal, so I don't feel very comfortable sharing, but I appreciated it more than I know how to handle right now. The point is, she cares. She actually really does.
Yeah, of course. And if she cares about your dad, then she would care about you too. It's like,
yeah, she wants me around. She wants as much of a relationship as I'm comfortable with, and only what I'm comfortable with. She also asked if some part of me was afraid of replacing my mom. She worries about that. She knows she can't be my mom, and my mom will always have a place in my heart, uncontested and unthreatened. But she would be honored to be someone I felt comfortable talking to about women things or anything at all. She said she does want to be a role model to me and to have a good relationship. She asked if we wanted to try and do better and not assuming what others are thinking and to communicate more openly. She said, we'll sit down together soon and go over what might help, like maybe a shared journal where we can write letters to each other. It's already been decided we all need to go to therapy.
That's good.
Dad asked outright if I was afraid of her, if I knew who I was actually saying no to in that moment, or if I was just so much in pain that I saw a woman with black hair and a similar build to my mom and had PTSD episode on the ground. I know at some what
I'm sorry. It's just like, I don't think they don't seem to understand that that's just like, you're not thinking anything.
Yeah.
You're just like, no, dad, give dad now, dad. I don't want that person. Like, because your whole body just got exploded.
Yeah,
Like,
she's not thinking straight.
everyone in the chat's saying it's probably not basketball. It's more like rugby, which would make more sense because that's, I
Roller
mean,
derby.
I've never heard of an injury like that for basketball.
What's
The way she said coming down,
that
though,
one
I just,
basketball with the trampolines? And it was like,
Oh no.
oh, the skies.
yeah,
The
that's
skies.
what it was.
no
Like
way.
people are
Trampoline
literally getting into. Yeah, probably. That.
I think they made that illegal, right? Because so many people's legs just got blown out.
pretty
Like,
much.
yeah,
I thought they were bringing it back.
I thought they were bringing it back too.
maybe they are. I don't
Or
know.
at least you get into that.
No, absolutely not.
I'm definitely not getting into it.
I did do that once and I did not like it.
Me and trampolines are a recipe for trouble.
I know at some point I was aware it was her, but I screamed a lot. I don't remember everything I was saying. I do remember screaming, "Get away and do not touch me," at a couple of people while insisting I wanted my dad. Because my eye is still a little broken, crying was basically the most painful catharsis. But my dad's girlfriend kept checking in on me, on my vision, making sure it wasn't getting too irritated. She also seemed nervous to even ask. So it's weird to me to think that she actually wants to take care of me. Even with dad, as much as I want him to, I never feel like he could ever actually want to. Like if he says he does, he just is being a good father by not saying, yes, actually, I'd rather be doing anything else right now, but otherwise, it'd be criminal neglect. I don't think I'm ready for her to start being more involved in caretaking or trying to be a potential source of comfort. I can do it with dad, but I don't know if I can tackle it with her yet. I don't want to go to therapy. I'm afraid I'll unlearn what has kept me safe, but I'm afraid if I don't, it's not going to end well. I know I need it. It doesn't help at all that dad and her are going to go too. It seems like a waste. It feels like I'm going to be taught to be vulnerable and get hurt. It feels like a stupid, useless experience because the therapist I saw while my mother was fighting to keep custody of me was an effing clown.
Well, that's the therapist-patient relationship is so important. It's like you're gonna get. I had the same thing happen to me. The first time I went to a therapist, it did not work, and then I found one that actually like worked, and it was incredibly like useful. So, and you're also 15, so of course you're gonna think that. Like,
I was a kid, not a toddler. I needed him to stop effing calling my birth mom my mommy and calling things that happen an ouchie or a boo-boo on my heart. I'll keep talking to my dad about it. I just think it either isn't going to work or it'll just ruin my coping skills. I want to try and spend more time with my dad's girlfriend and talk to her more and build something less distant and nervous on both our parts. Selfishly, I want her to like me too, not just like that being nice to me means she can keep loving my dad. And by the way, you can keep loving us after this story. All you got to go to is your favorite podcast platform, Apple, iHeart, Spotify. Search up OK Storytime and boom, pop, pow. We're there with stories just like this one.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Yep.
That was come on. We were talking about basketball this whole time, and I dropped the ultimate basketball
And boom
reference.
goes-
You don't know?
I don't know.
You haven't seen that? It's like a, was it high school or college? Keon?
It's high school.
It was like a high school basketball announcer, and he's like, his calls from the booth are just basically like the most like, wah, 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 and then someone like slams it, and he goes, and boom goes the dynamite.
Nice.
You're missing out.
But Dakota, how do you feel about this?
I feel good. I feel like, OP's also just 15 and very hard on themselves. There were some comments, and they're very right, that OP is a great writer. Like, this was written phenomenal.
Yeah, this is great.
But I think OP needs to, just try some therapy, find one that works for you. I know I think they made a comment about how they're like, I want my dad to stop being like boo-boo on my heart and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, I'm still doing that with my mom.
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes it's just the way it is. Like, I'm just her baby forever. But
And
you
it's impressive that OP knows what her emotions are. She just doesn't want to feel them.
well, I mean, that's normal.
That's a teenager. That is, you just defined a teenager
Yeah.
right then and there.
Yeah.
They're going through a lot. They're also figuring out themselves too.
True.
I don't even know if I was that cogent at 15 to like know that I wanted to not feel anything. Like, it wasn't until I got older that I was like, oh, maybe I shut that down. Like, it took me until like probably 17, 18 before I was really like going through the deeper, what's it called? The nooks and crannies of the human experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, girl. But you're doing good. This is a great step.
Yeah, definitely try therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Don't disregard therapy.
I want to feel less comfortable when someone says they love me or care about me or like me as a person. I'm only 15. I'm not a full person yet. My personality is just a product of how I was raised, and I'll find my own personality once I grow up and have real world experience. I don't like the way things are, though, and they need to change, but that is a tangled knot. I don't know when I can unravel it yet. Yeah, there are a lot more to do, more than I want to think about, but it got better. And that's it.
No need.
Yeah, OP, you're doing great. This is a great first step.
You're perfectly fine. I mean, well, with that, the horrific injuries
body
don't
is
sound perfectly
not
fine.
good.
But, good thing they happened at 15 and not 25, because I think your body still has a chance to, like, come back from that. But my God, that happens to you. That's like happens to you in adulthood. That's like your life is just changed
Dude, if that happened to any of my coworkers, they would not be able to come back from that.
No, I mean,
Except for me.
I'm not coming back from that. Sophia might be able to come
Sophia and I could come back from that.
back. All right, I'll give it to you.
Amy Herring.
Food snack.
Amy Herring sent $10 in. Riley, I love it when you read. Reading aloud was one of my biggest struggles, especially with my anxiety, stumbling over words. College and testifying in court cured me of that fear. Well, I will say I'm talking to a camera, not like to actually 270 of you at one point. Like, it's like 270 of you not together in one room. That makes it so much easier.
Yeah, if you can disconnect that this is going to a theoretically infinite amount of people, then it's just like three guys in a room talking.
Yeah. I feel we're just reading stories.
Yeah.
And joke for Isabel and I, why do melons have weddings? They can't elope.
Got him with the tried and true
All right,
classic.
we got to read this right now.
My girlfriend's coworker confessed feelings to her, but my girlfriend still refuses to end their friendship.
I'm gonna need some more information on that one, Chief.
I, 22 female, think my girlfriend, 21 female, and I are gonna call it quits. Whew.
We're calling it quit. It's quitting time.
And it's all over one of her friends. For context, this all started back in June of this year, but really got nasty this last weekend. By the way, this comes from Independent Sun 6225, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, back in June of this year, my girlfriend got sent on a work trip to her job with a few of her coworkers. On this work trip in the evening after one of the training sessions, she and a couple of her coworkers that she was not very close with at the time decided to go to a basketball game. Right before the game was supposed to start, some of the other coworkers that were supposed to go back out, leaving my girlfriend and her coworker, who was 28, female. Things only got weird the next day when it was brought to my attention by my girlfriend that she and her coworker had taken a picture at the game and posted on Instagram. I say she brought this to my attention because I don't frequently use social media, so I was not aware of this post's existence until my girlfriend told me that it was causing drama and rumors at work. This coworker of hers is also lesbian, and we both have short hair and dress like men, while my girlfriend is extremely feminine. So, of course, a picture of them out of town, just the two of them at a game, sparked rumors that she and I had broken up. I will admit that at the time, yes, I did think the picture was a little weird. However, I'm usually not the jealous type, so my girlfriend asked me if the picture bothered me and if I wanted her to delete it. I told her no, but then as the days went on, it really did start to bother me. She was telling me about what people at her job were saying, and the more she talked about it, the more I thought about it and realized how it would have been completely different if the roles were reversed, and I had posted a picture like that. My girlfriend is the extremely jealous type, so I know that it would have been World War III if I had done that. So it started to bother me. I told her it bothered me, and she deleted it. Then we moved on. As the months go on, my girlfriend said coworker and another female coworker, straight, have grown rather close. They all work on the same shifts now, and they are in a group chat text message, and now they hang out on the weekends, go to the bar, go to some of the coworkers' homes, etc. I started to feel slightly uncomfortable with my girlfriend being friends with that coworker after we had an argument late at night, and she left our apartment to go to that coworker's apartment and cry to her. Like they said, another shoulder to cry on is another D to ride on. Who says that, man?
Who says that?
Who says that?
Keon, do they say that?
Who's they?
So at this point, I started to feel very uncomfortable. At this point, I expressed my feelings to my girlfriend. She, of course, said it wasn't like that and they were all friends. My argument was that just because we're all females, it makes it different. But if I were her boyfriend and she left our apartment in the middle of the night to go cry at some other man's apartment, it would totally not be okay, and I don't understand how she couldn't see that. Anyway, time goes on. My girlfriend continues her friendship with his coworker. At some point, my girlfriend told her coworker about how I felt, and the coworker laughed about it and reassured my girlfriend that, OMG, it's just not like that. We had 2 to 3 arranged hangouts for me to get to know coworker better and maybe like her, their idea. It didn't work. I still felt super uncomfortable. My girlfriend and I had a huge argument one day when I found out that coworker was at our apartment one day when I wasn't home, just hanging out. I felt violated. So since June of this year, it's been a nonstop argument between my girlfriend and I about this coworker, and I feel so uncomfortable with her being friends with her. But every single time I voiced my grievances, I've been shut down by my girlfriend and both of her coworkers, saying that everyone's just friends, and it's really not like that at all. Well. Fast forward to this last weekend, my girlfriend goes to the bar with both of those coworkers. I decide to head to bed because it's around 11 p.m. and she shows no signs of coming home soon. I woke up with a start at 2 a.m, and I panicked when I realized she wasn't home. I checked my phone and I see a text message from her an hour ago saying I'm on my way home. I checked her location and I saw that she's been sitting in the parking lot of our apartment for nearly an hour. I immediately freak out thinking something happened and she's laying unalived in the parking lot or something. As I'm flying out of bed trying to put on pants and a shirt, I'm calling her, and after a few rings, she answers. I asked her if she's okay and why she's been sitting in the parking lot, and she said she's just talking and she'll be in a few minutes. The next day, she's distant the entire day and I can tell something's off. Around 6 p.m., I ask her what's wrong and we start having our conversation. It's during this conversation that she says, "Oh God, once I say this, I can't take it back." I'm like, huh?
I'm like, double question mark?
Then she says, "I want to talk to you about last night." Immediately, my soul exits my body and I start hearing ringing in my ears.
Oh God.
I'm thinking she's going to tell me she cheated on me. Well, that's not what happened. She tells me that coworker confessed feelings for her. I have never felt so violently enraged before. Truly, I was shaking. I was crying.
Whoa.
Ever since they took that dang picture at the game all those months ago, I've had a problem with it. We've had so many arguments about their friendship since that day, and I've always been made out to be the villain and told that I'm just jealous and I'm just crazy and I need to get over it because it's really not like that. And now it turns out that I was right. They tried to argue at one point that she was 28 and my girlfriend was 21. So they couldn't even be together. But I guess that doesn't matter anymore. I expressed all of this to my girlfriend, and I said she has a choice. She can either choose me or her. My girlfriend has chosen her. My girlfriend says it's not like that, and she doesn't have feelings for her at all and never will. But these are her only 2 friends, and she's not going to choose her partner over friends because then she will be completely isolated in a relationship with me, and she doesn't want to do that. I've tried to tell her I don't have a problem with her having friends. It's only with this one coworker. From day one, I knew that it was an issue, but everyone always made me out to be the bad guy. Now the coworker has gone from, oh, LOL, it's not like that, to now I have feelings for you, which is also a possibility that she didn't originally have feelings. So what's next? What's next for my girlfriend? My girlfriend says it's not her coworker's fault and that you can't help your feelings. I said, obviously you can't help your feelings as we're both gay. And that's not what I'm upset about. I'm upset because she chose to tell her. She could have kept her feelings secret, but she didn't. She decided to disrespect our relationship. It's true. She decided to just disrespect all of the concerns I've had for the last few months. She decided to try to make a move on my girlfriend by telling her that she had feelings for her, which was completely inappropriate and unnecessary. So I think we're calling it quits. My girlfriend and I have talked about this numerous times over the last weekend. We both have cried so much, but I just simply can't get over this. And she says she will not sever a very good friendship for a partner. So am I the a-hole? Edit, because I really am looking for an unbiased opinion. I want to add this clarification. I do trust my girlfriend. I don't think that she would cheat on me. I do believe her when she says that it's just a friendship to her. I do believe her when she says it's nothing more than that. What bothers me is the coworker's complete disrespect and disregard for our relationship. What bothers me is although my girlfriend is loyal in the cheating sense, I feel like she's betraying me and not being loyal by choosing this friend over me. I feel so hurt and angry that I've been turning blue in the face for months with my concern about this. And I hate to use this word, but I was almost gaslit into thinking I'm the problem and I'm jealous and I'm controlling, only to have been correct all along. Additional info, my girlfriend found the post and is in the comments, so I want to add additional information for context. When she was on that work trip, yes, I struck up a conversation with my ex-girlfriend that lasted around 2 weeks. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal because I have never had issues with exes and I've always remained friends with them. But it was clear from the beginning of my relationship with my current girlfriend that that was not acceptable. She goes no contact with exes, so I did the same. That ex owes me money, so we had texted about something related to that, and it led to a catch-up session, and just to talk about how we've been. We never met up, and the conversation never got spicy or inappropriate at all, but I did regret it afterwards because I knew how my girlfriend felt about it, so I deleted all of the texts and wasn't going to mention it. When we're on our way home from the airport, my girlfriend saw the text and broke up with me. Then that's when she went to that coworker's house for an hour to cry about it to her. She says I cheated, but I say I didn't. Either way, I was wrong for that, and even though I disagree with her opinion, I discontinued that relationship, friendship conversation because I knew it was a boundary that my girlfriend had, and there is an update. That changes
big
a
stuff.
lot.
That's really big
That
stuff.
changes a lot. Okay. Hey, y'all. Figured I'd hop on here to vent, and besides, who doesn't love a good Reddit update? So after my initial post, we decided to work it out and stay together. It was tumultuous to say the least. The intense gaslighting and reassurance that my girlfriend did not have feelings for her coworker continued. See, this is where I think this is now a bad idea. The arguing over their friendship never ended. And some of you saw in the comments of the original post, my girlfriend found it and started arguing with some of you in the comments. The post really set her off, and she ended up getting her mom and dad involved, who also went off on me for being jealous, insecure, and controlling. Fast forward to 2 months later, during an argument, we called it quits again. Only this time, she came with that coworker and packed up all her crap and left. Where is she now? She lives with her. What are they doing now? They're together.
Yeah, I'll
shocked.
No, but like
I'll
that,
take my payment up front, by the way, for
that seemed pretty obvious.
Double my life savings, please. Thank you.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I am not disagreeing with OP's gut or that the fact that, like, the fact that her girlfriend should not be hanging out with this other girl once finding out about the feelings. It's just like the going about it in the beginning. That was the only thing I was like, eh. But
Yeah.
I think clearly the girlfriend was, disrespectful during the relationship. But you know what would be respectful of you guys? listening to full episodes of stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
We would never disrespect you for that.
Don't disrespect us.
We would never.
So
Yeah.
anyway, short and to the point update that I'm sure any stranger on the internet reading will say they saw coming from a mile away, but I didn't. It's so easy to make assumptions and identify patterns in strangers, but when you're actually the one in the relationship and you're being gaslit that it's not like that and you're just jealous, you tend to want to believe your partner. But again, I don't think you did believe her. Whether or not her feelings for a coworker existed during our time together, I guess I'll never truly know. But take this as a PSA that no matter what anyone says to you, no matter how much you think somebody loves you, no matter how much you think you might be crazy, trust yourself. At this point, cheating would have hurt less. I would have rather her cheat on me with her coworker rather than all of this manipulation and toxicity just for her to end up with her anyways.
Yeah, right? I tried to offer advice to my boyfriend's sister, but now everything's ruined.
Don't offer advice if it's not asked.
I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend, who we'll call G, for about 2 years. He has 3 younger siblings, M, 23 male, A, 21 male, and T, 19 female. So this will be Greg, Matt,
Aw.
Adam, and Tina. All of them are still in college and still live at home with their mom, 55 female, and dad, 55 male, while my boyfriend and I rent an apartment. By the way, this comes from user maincopy4866. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, this summer, they will be celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary in France,
Dang, cool.
where they had their wedding. They plan on getting first-class tickets, a high-end hotel, all that good stuff. And one night, Greg and I were supposed to have dinner with his family. While we were at their house, Tina mentioned how excited she was for this summer and all the things they plan to do in France. As it is an anniversary trip for her parents, I suggested to Tina she could do her parents a solid and maybe stay home and out of their hair to give her parents time away from their kids this summer. Or she could maybe pay her own way so her parents could save money. Tina asked me why she would give up a trip to France. And I told her it would be a nice gesture for her parents' anniversary. I kept trying to tell her how nice it would be, how her parents would probably thank her for giving them space. At some point, Matt interrupted us and told me to stop meddling in family affairs, that I was overstepping, and to either apologize for pressuring Tina or to leave the house. I told him I didn't mean to make anyone upset. But when their dad came into the room and asked them what was wrong and they told him everything, he asked me to leave his house and said I probably shouldn't come back anytime soon because I was overstepping, and he found it rude that I was making up a problem and pressuring Tina to solve it. Me and Greg went back to our apartment and we haven't been speaking. Where do I go from here? There's an edit for more info. Edit, the others are invited, but they're older, so I assume they can just go do their own thing. Info, I'm not obsessed with their financial situation. I just think it's important that Tina starts making money on her own so she can value it more.
And actually, that's actually not any of your business.
So yes, I just think it's important Tina starts having more valuable principles. She's used to getting her nails and her hair and sometimes makeup done and paid for. Not to mention how many products she buys for her hair and sanitary products.
And if they can afford it, like, what's the problem? It's none of your business.
This is weird.
This is a really weird take, OP.
It will hit her hard how much this stuff costs when she's older. So why not start learning that now?
That's literally life.
Comment number 1, not sure why you pressed the topic so much. You assume the parents want the time alone, but it seems like they don't. You tried too hard to make your point valid. A reply states, recognizing how much she overstepped, apologizing, and truly changing her attitude might help her out, maybe. Another reply, these edits suggest she neither recognized the issue, nor is she sorry for overstepping. So, yeah, no. Comment number 2, your perspective isn't the only true perspective in the world. It's not up to you to decide how others should celebrate and who they celebrate with, and it's not okay to keep on pushing someone because you are self-righteous. Your boyfriend's parents are 55-year-old adults who are perfectly capable to make their own choices. You don't need to help them because they think they are not able to book a vacation for 2. And his sister is definitely not doing anything wrong by going on a vacation her parents booked for her. You don't need to project your ideas onto her. Their children are a result of their happy marriage. Maybe they like having them there, and they would like to share this special moment with them. And all children are adults in this scenario, so the parents could go to dinner or do couples activities whenever they want. You should apologize for overstepping and give them some space. And you should reflect on your behavior, because in their experience, apparently you pushed hard enough for them wanting you to leave. Very fair. I feel like that is the crux of this whole situation is how was this delivered in a way where the dad immediately was like, get out of my house?
Yeah.
Like what was done there?
Not even, he didn't even have to be there to say that.
He just heard the recap.
Yeah, he heard the recap and then he went, you're done.
Yeah. So
Like, that is not a thing. That's also not a thing that happens like first time, you know? Like, I bet this is OP's like, you know, I bet this is kind of OP's MO.
we have an update here. So let's get into it. Last night, me and Greg had a long and serious talk about my comments at the dinner, along with some of my past comments.
Mm-hmm.
He told me, while in my family, refusing a free trip while you're invited may be seen as noble, in his family, refusing a free trip is seen as stupid. In my family, if someone offers to pay for you, you should always decline no matter what. My parents made me work all throughout high school and always told me I'd have to get a scholarship to help pay for college because they weren't going to do it. It is also a courtesy in my family to not expect help with finances no matter how tough it may get, to only eat one serving at dinner gatherings, to always pay your own way, and we often voice our opinions no matter what they are. He then went into discussing the trip to France. His mother has extended family who live there, so this will not be the first time or last time that they all go. It will be the first time they explore the area. So even if Tina wasn't old enough to go off on her own or didn't know her way around or the language, she would be just fine.
I mean, you don't have to know the language in Paris. We were there for 10 days. Did not
But you know, anyone
did
anywhere
not need to know.
does appreciate knowing their language.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I think
but
there
it's
is a
not-
level of like, you can try and order in French and you can try, but like, there are places in the world where if you go and you don't know the language, you're kind of, you know, screwed a little bit. But France is especially Paris, not one of them.
If his mom and dad wanted alone time, she would just be fine on her own, even if they didn't have family there. When me and Greg first started dating and we were talking about our family history, he told me about how his maternal great-great-grandparents moved to America from France. I was under the impression that everyone from his mother's extended family moved, not just the great-great-grandparents and their children. Apparently, his mother thought my behavior was because I didn't feel welcome by them, and the dinner was to invite me on the France trip as sort of like a peace offering. However, after his father caught me trying to sway Tina, he had enough and decided he couldn't take it anymore no matter what his wife says, and he will not tolerate me being around the rest of the family or in their home any longer. This came as a shock to the family, as his dad doesn't speak much and is usually calm and composed. My boyfriend also showed me his photos from his parents' wedding, and it looked like one of the most fairy tale-like weddings I've ever seen. It was held at Chateau Cheyenne. Cayenne? Chateau Caillou. And he explained how they plan on renting the space again and flying all their extended family out to celebrate with them because they want to celebrate with everybody and will take time for themselves later on in the summer. I also teared up listening to how his parents met. After graduating high school, his mother spent the summer in France with her family while his dad was visiting along with his older brother. His dad had struggled with nearly his entire life up to that point, and it was supposed to be his dad's last trip before he let himself go because he was tired of all of it. One morning, while eating alone at a cafe, he recognized her as the most beautiful girl he's ever seen, who spent her time helping out her family with their restaurant, running it like it was the Navy, someone who wasn't afraid to call customers out when they were being unreasonable or just downright rude, and someone who knows exactly what she wants and how to get it. The complete opposite of him. Well, you know what they say. Opposites attract. They spent the day together, which inspired his father to continue his treatment, accomplish his goals, and start taking life more seriously so he could be by her side for as long as she'd have him. What? This is a love that defeated illness. pretty strong. His parents always told him and his siblings the only thing in life they value more than each other are their children, and they want to make sure if life ever gets hard for them that they have something to fall back on. He told me he'd be moving back in with his parents until he can find a new apartment. He also revoked my invitation to their family Christmas trip to Aspen, which we were supposed to be leaving for tonight. I feel like I'm in a Darman video right now. What the F? On another note, my friend saw my initial post and gave me an intervention.
Hell yeah.
I will be attending therapy for the foreseeable future. May update when I unpack what's wrong with me. Wow.
Ooh, I can't tell if that's sarcastic.
I don't know, but
me unpack when I can't tell what's wrong with me.
I don't know.
Thank God you got that intervention.
I know what's not sarcastic. The fact that we have full episodes with stories like this available at your fingertips. All you got to do is search OK Storytime on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Search the name of our show and enjoy what's there. Because there's a lot, and there's some edit for info here. People seem to be confused. When I say his father recognized his mother in France, I mean that literally as they are from the same hometown. Oh. Some people also think I'm saying love cured his father's cancer. I was told that it was what made him continue treatment. That's all I was told. I've also gotten comments about the years of the Chateau Chalet becoming a wedding venue and the wedding not making sense. Unless I'm misremembering something, I remember him saying that's where they were married. Maybe I'm mixing up the locations where he was talking about the wedding and the wedding anniversary. I don't know. Comments here. Can someone stand up and clap for that king? I wish him well and the best, as well as finding a new, better woman. Another reply here. The comment from the dad really stood out to me. How often has OP been a total a-hole to the family with stuff she said? She sounds insufferable with an aura of what I say is right, so if you ignore me, I won't be there to help when I gleefully watch it all come crashing down. Well, now it's crashed down on OP because of how she acts. I hope this causes some insight on her behalf. Not too late to relearn and become a nicer, more empathetic, and better person after all. And that's the end of that story.
My girlfriend lied to me. She spent the whole day with another man.
The whole day?
Not the whole day.
Did she say it was only part of the day?
So, a bit of context. I, male 24, have been dating my now ex woman, 21, who will be referred to as K, for roughly a year and a half up to this point a few days ago. Having dealt with getting cheated on in high school, I made it very clear that I tolerate no level of cheating, any of which would immediately end our relationship. By the way, this comes from deleted on the OK Storytime subreddit. She stays out of state from me, but not terribly far, at only 45-minute drive between us. So we see each other every other week as we both work and I'm in college. She informed me a few weeks prior that she has a friend coming into town and that he wanted some weed, but they are a medical-only state and I'm in a recreational state. So in turn, I gave her some pre-rolls to give to him once he gets into town. Now at this point, I have no sense of mistrust in Kay at all. She told the Get Down about how they were gonna link for a gym session and he grabbed the joints and that be it. I haven't bothered to ask for his name, what he looks like, etc. All I knew was that they went to high school together. They hadn't seen each other in a couple of years and he was coming into town to visit family at no exact date. Now, to what happened. A few days ago, I was getting plans ready for a date we had set up the next day. Kay told me she had to work this day, so I was tasked with all the planning. I was texting Kay about it, trying to set up time frames of when she'd be here, where to eat, etc. This is when I noticed her Snapchat location was turned off.
Uh-oh. Strike
Not
one.
the Snap location.
Where are you? I don't know. You turned it off.
I asked her what's the deal, and she said she turned it off for safety concerns since she didn't want everyone seeing it all the time anymore, which is fair. I mean, everyone can see it on Snap.
That is actually the most valid reason I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a valid reason.
Yeah.
This confused me since she can choose to just share it with me alone. I just pushed it aside as me being paranoid until she didn't respond back to my text for 2 hours. Maybe she's busy. She's in school. She could be in school for 2 hours.
She could be.
Now, for most, this won't raise a concern as she's at work. She could be busy, etc. But she works at a small food spot and they have never been busy enough to the point she doesn't respond for 2 hours. And she's always been telling me about how they don't have a lot of business. Fast forward another hour as I was leaving a workout sesh, I see that she still hadn't replied. I don't know how, but I get a sinking gut feeling that something's off. There's too many red flags to ignore.
That's the gut for you right there. The gut will tell you what's wrong.
The gut will always tell you. So I make a decision to take the 45-minute drive all the way to her job. When I get there, I don't see her car outside. I can't write it off yet as she's gotten sent home early before due to slow business. So I drive to her house. She's not there either. Now I'm alarmed. To be sure, I drive all the way back to her job and walk inside to ask one of the staff working up front if Kay had been into work today. They said no. At this point, I'm mad, and I let it get the best of me. Once I step outside, I immediately text her that I never want to see her face ever again, and I drive home. In this hastiness, I forgot that the same food spot has a second location and that she's sometimes been staffed there but hasn't been recently, which is why it slipped my mind. Which is why we never should accuse our partners so quickly of cheating without proof. I get home and I'm still pissed, but I realized I could have been wrong and acted out too soon until she finally responds to my text right at 10:07 p.m. that she just got off work. This added to my level of suspicion because the main location I visited that she works at closes at 10 p.m., but the second location closes at 9.
Now I'm mad. Now I'm extra mad.
She's asking what I meant by that last text and called me once, which I declined. At this point, I still needed to close all doors to be sure of myself. So I decided to call her back. I'm under the impression that she doesn't know I stopped by her job, so I keep it that way. I ask her why has she not been responding to me, and she gives a comical excuse about how her boss got pissed at her coworker for being on their phone, so he told them they couldn't use their phones on shift anymore. That's a fair excuse. That also happened at my job with people. I knew this was a BS excuse, but I needed to catch her slip up. So I trail it to a normal conversation about her day until she slips up and says that she's only been working at the main store this whole pay period. And that sealed it. I caught her in a lie and finally decided to ask her the real questions, which went like this.
Oh boy.
Me. So, Karen, where were you actually at all day today? Karen, what do you mean? I was at work all day. Me, I drove to your job and you weren't there. Again, where were you actually at?
Whoa.
Karen, I was in the back kitchen with the cooks. Me, I asked your coworker and they said you didn't work today. So where were you actually at all day? Karen, silence. And I hang up after about 10 seconds of silence. That was it.
Yep.
Man, okay, I was really trying to defend all of these suspicious actions and like maybe find another answer, but seems like she's cheating.
Nobody takes an hour to close, man.
Yeah,
Come on, dude.
Yeah, doesn't seem likely. That was it. I had emotionally checked out at that point and was no longer interested in what she had to say. She tried to call me and texted me saying to let her explain. And she said that yes, she had been hanging out with her friend all day, but nothing happened. She said that they had gone to the gym, gotten some lunch, and then decided to get a motel room to smoke some of the joints because his family didn't like him smoking substances, and they didn't want to smoke in their cars either. I'm sorry, they rented a motel to smoke?
We got a motel to smoke
just to
in.
smoke.
Which also,
it was just
you
us.
can't smoke inside
That's what I was gonna say.
of a motel room anymore. Like,
they wouldn't let you do that
depending on where
either,
you live.
unless you're doing it sneakily,
No, that's
I guess.
a federal law. That's federal now. That's nonsense, dude.
I didn't want to hear any of it. She had lied to me 5 times already, and I gave her every opportunity to tell me the truth, and she lied and expects me to believe anything else she has to say? Yeah, I'm good on that. Her friend even decided to text me trying to explain it and wanted to apologize about trying to do me like that.
Whoa!
Sorry for doing you like that, brother.
So
not my intention.
The stupid friend
Yeah.
is now texting and being like, I didn't mean to do you like that, bro. Which fully confirms.
Yeah.
Do me like what, bro? Do me like
How
what?
are you doing me?
What were you doing?
Who are you doing?
What did you want?
This just
Ugh.
pisses me off even more. Like, oh, so you both knew and were trying to play me like a fool? He's trying to convince me about how much she cares about me, trying to have a man-to-man discussion. Meanwhile, Kay is trying to talk about how much she's afraid to lose me and crap. I told Kay that I didn't want to hear any of it anymore and that I want to just end it right there and now. Right there and now. Told her I wouldn't even badmouth her to our mutual friends or anything but that I never wanted to see her again. But I always want to see you guys every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap her profile.
Not only is she a liar, she's a bad liar.
She's a really bad liar.
Horrendous.
She's outrageously suspicious. She's not tried to contact me any further since that night, and neither has her friend. She took down our couple's photo on all her social media. Wow. And so now I've had some of her mutuals come through trying to convince me to talk to her and work things out. But I've shut them all down. They keep saying that I don't know for certain if Karen and her friend actually did something, which is true. But in my mind, lying to your significant other about being at work to spend a day with someone they know next to nothing about is cheating. I don't think
Well, that's not.
It's
that's
not
what
outright
that
cheating.
is. You don't get to just say that
It's not
that's
just
cheating.
cheating.
But I think we can assume
that she
she
did.
wanted to cheat on you
Yes.
with this guy.
I agree.
Which is why they were in a hotel room.
I mean, why else would she lie?
Yeah, come on.
And buy a motel? Am I the a-hole for overreacting? And that is the end of that story.
Yeah.
No, I
No,
don't.
you're
I
not
don't
at
think
all.
you're the a-hole at all.
0%. My boyfriend's female friend is way too clingy. I need her to get away.
I got a solution. Just if he loves her so much, marry her.
Yeah, take her to Hawaii.
Yeah.
If you love her so much, why don't you marry her? My boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 26 female, have been in a relationship for a little over a year. We met 3 years ago, and I have always known about his female friend, 24 female, who we will call Mandy. By the way, this comes from user Elegant Potato 6878 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my boyfriend, who we call Chris, has been friends with Mandy for 6 years. Mandy dated one of Chris's best friends and college roommate for over a year, but they were all friends before Mandy dated his friend. He remained in contact with her after she and his friend broke up, but not as close as they were before. He rarely talked about Mandy, and they never hung out until Chris and I made our relationship official. That's a weird time to start hanging out.
I see the type of person we're dealing with here.
When Chris and I made our relationship official, we lived in 2 separate towns over an hour away from each other. When we labeled our relationship, suddenly I would hear how Mandy was inviting him over to her house in the evenings and asking him to do favors for her, like fix the bed frame or get her gas because she ran out. It was annoying to me, but I had never met her at that point. When I finally did meet her, the only annoying thing was how often she mentioned that she and Chris had been friends for so long. It was weird, but I wasn't concerned. A month later, she invited him to go to a concert of an old band together in the summer. It's definitely not my music, but I wasn't invited at all until a week later when we were all hanging out, and she said, "Oh, would you like to go? I'm sure you could find tickets somewhere." I really wasn't too torn up about it all. Just annoyed still at this point. Fast forward to summer, and I moved to the town my boyfriend is in. I'm trying to make an effort to get to know this girl because she is always around. We live in the same apartment complex, and there's a pool we would go to during these days. The first major red flag comment she says to me alone is, quote, "Sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I was the one dating Chris. I see how sweet he is to you, and I want that." Like any girlfriend, I became concerned. I should have said something then, but I hate confrontation. Also, for the sake of the story length, I'm going to be cutting a lot of sketchy things that she said to me and only give you the juicy details because this was not the worst thing. Fast forward 1 month later. Her and my boyfriend went to the concert without me, and she posted a picture of them together at the concert, which is the only picture they have together in their 6 years of friendship. Imagine that. Also, he told me that she barely knew any of the songs and was miserable the whole time, so he was confused why she wanted to go. I know why. She was at my apartment helping me do stuff for my classroom a couple days later, and she randomly said, quote, "Chris just didn't care if I posted the Instagram picture, but I don't want you to think I'm your competition." I was genuinely so confused because we weren't even talking about that, and I said, "I don't think you're my competition?" Like, what? Then she said, "Oh my God, did Chris tell you I want him and I to get matching tattoos together? He's been my friend for so long and stuck by my side. He's the only friend I would do that with."
Run.
Yeah, at this point,
Or at least push her away and then run.
you need to tell your boyfriend that she is like literally being like, "I steal your man." I don't care what she says right here. She's being steal your man. At this point, I'm like, WTF, because they aren't even close like that. Then later, she wants to plan a vacation at the end of summer, the week I start school back up. I'm a teacher, and she knew that when I started school. So when I tell her that wouldn't work for me, she says, oh, well, maybe Chris will just go with me. And is texting him at work, convincing him to go with her. Girl, you got to stop being passive. Stop being passive. Tell your boyfriend. What are we doing? He doesn't agree to go, but why is she trying to plan a solo vacay with just my boyfriend? Why are you acting like you don't know the answer to that? Finally, I later tell him nervously, by the way, how uncomfy she has made me. I'm very civil about it, but he tells me he understands and says it is weird behavior. Anyway, she doesn't do anything too crazy for a while until we are at a get-together with friends and we all got done taking shots. Chris and I were standing close and being cute as a couple when she stands on the couch and says to Chris, carry me, in a whiny voice. So he says, no, that's effing weird. So she says, let me get on your shoulders, and continues to get on top of him. What do you mean, and continues to get on top of him? What do we mean by that? Because he could literally at any point just be like, hey, do you know how much consent you have to give to let someone get up onto your shoulders?
It's both the comfort and the like safety, you know? Like there's so many layers.
Listen, this is already all effed up, but I'm definitely bigger than she is. To me, she's one of those girls who did that to prove to me that he could carry her with ease and not me. Maybe I'm overthinking that piece, but come on. Ugh, God, that's an extra gross layer. This girl needs to go. That's all I'm going to say. This girl needs to go.
Bye-bye.
She wanted him to carry her? I was at my breaking point and told him I was going to set her straight the next day. I did so over Snapchat, and she was apologetic, of course, but that still didn't stop her. She always does and says weird and sketchy things still. The most recent, she literally asked him to be her little swimmer donor. I am not even kidding. When she asked, I said, no, that is a effing weird question, and she got very red. I told Chris that the next time she does something like that, he needs to be the one to say something to her since she doesn't respect our relationship. I told him that all my friends say to cut her off, but I know that she is his friend. He says he agrees with me, and it is weird, but I don't think he understands how angry I am and how much it bothers me. He's so oblivious to it all. But also, OP, I think part of why he's oblivious is you don't seem to have communicated any of the way that you are feeling to him in like a real way, whether that's because you don't like confrontation or not. But like from the first moment she said, I just am always picturing myself with your boyfriend instead of you. You tell him that and you go, I don't like this one.
And like, admittedly, this is maybe the most obvious case we've ever seen of like, oh, she clearly wants you and is trying to like get in between and destroy your relationship to steal you. But still, she should share how she feels because she deserves that.
You have to do it immediately, no matter how weird it is, no matter how weird it feels. I've literally had to do this before. With somebody after they had gotten with, they started dating somebody. We like looked at each other at one point, right? And there were eyeballs being exchanged. And then after she starts dating my friend, at one point we're like in the same area, and she goes, "This could have been us. And you just, if you would have made a move, it could have been us." And I immediately went out, not 5 minutes later, and was like, "Hey, bro, heads up, because your girlfriend just low key was like, what if we were dating?" So just wanted to give you the heads up on that one. And that's exactly what you should have done with your own boyfriend when this girl was like, I low-key am fantasizing about being your boyfriend's girlfriend.
I feel for her. I definitely agree. Like, you deserve to be able to tell him, like, I am insanely uncomfortable, and I think that you should be too, and you should want to cut it off.
But now she has been calling him asking for favors so much lately, and I can't take it. I'm so ready to just cut her off entirely. The most recent things to occur is when I tried to give her one more chance and went to an event with her alone. She says, out of nowhere, if Chris ever proposes, you better not say no. Out of sheer frustration, I tell her that our plan is to get married and we have it all figured out. She looked so surprised and suddenly texted Chris to tell him that she needed to know all of the details of the proposal. A little bit later, she says, I hope you're not worried about me and Chris, to which I responded, I'm not, and I've never been worried. She then said, well, I have something to tell you. About 3 or 4 years ago, Chris gave me a back scratch.
What kind of comment is that? About 3 or 4 years ago, he patted me on the back.
This is a perfect example of you don't need to just like keep people around. I feel like we were hiding that from you. I hope you don't think it's weird. I just love soft touches. Oof, dude. I'm just like,
Who is this person?
again, I'm running the Oklahoma drill now. When I told her I didn't care, she just kept bringing it up all night, saying how she hopes it won't cause our breakup. Like, shut up. Later, she also told me that if she ever made a move on Chris, she's confident he would say no. I told Chris all about this and said I can't be around her anymore. I've given her too many chances. Chris and I are moving towns, which she conveniently got a job in too. Dude.
Whoa.
Dude. Ugh.
We are reaching levels of insanity not yet reached before.
Moving in together, OP and her boyfriend Chris, and he's already asked my dad for his blessing. It is the real deal, and I love him so much, but I don't know how much more I can handle with the constant reminder of all that Mandy has said and done to me with her still around. If I tell him to cut her off without giving her another chance, am I the a-hole? No, you're not.
You forgot something important, though. Mandy also went and asked for the blessing to marry him.
I don't even feel like she would do that. She'd go ask Chris's parents, like, if OP has the blessing to marry Chris.
So I heard you didn't get the blessing. Oh my God, that must feel so sad.
I heard you didn't get the blessing from Chris's girlfriend if she was allowed to marry your wonderful son. And I personally would have definitely asked for that. I can convey the message for you if you want. And then she's going to be like, Chris, your parents told me that they'd rather you marry me.
Silly as that.
Yeah, no, I mean but he needs to know that this girl's unhinged. He has to already know. So why is he ignoring it?
Again, I feel like it would be very normal at this point for him to be like, yeah, this is a no-go. I don't know how much of this has been said with him 100% there and aware of it, but I just can't imagine that he's not able to see it. It's so obvious.
If this is what she's saying to the girlfriend, imagine what she says to him. Anyway,
Facts.
we have an update. First off, I really appreciate all the comments and advice from my original post. Truthfully, I didn't read anything in the comments that was new or something that I haven't thought of or of before deep down. So it was honestly very validating to read all the comments because I know I'm not crazy. I even know my boyfriend is not totally innocent in this situation, but that can be a hard pill to swallow, which is why I didn't mention it. But I should have known the commenters on Reddit would read between the lines, LOL. And really quickly, I'm going to touch on that because I feel like it speaks to OP's personality. I know that can be a hard pill to swallow, which is why I didn't mention it. Sometimes the hard talks, the cold water, the bitter pills, you need to mention these things in a relationship. If they don't get mentioned, they just fester beneath the surface until they manifest as a full-blown the disease.
Yeah.
And now you got to do a whole wellness routine. You could have done a preventive care. I want to clarify some things first before I fully update. Mandy and Chris hardly talk one-on-one that you know of, and they never really have before, which is why I was okay with the friendship at first because it seemed casual. However, once I came into the picture, she tried to weasel her way in and make it seem like their friendship was more than it was. But trust me that they have never had a fling and he would never leave the relationship for her. That has never been my worry. I know all girls say that, but it's true. He truly is oblivious to a lot of things, but I'm sure deep down he liked the attention as well, which is annoying. My theory, also thankfully backed up by commenters, is that she, 1, likes the attention. Trust me, I could tell 20 more stories about how she tried to get attention from her body to her wild antics. 2, she wants what she can't have. Chris is typically not her type, but obviously attractive. Humble flex from OP there. She was never interested before, except now that he's not available. 3, she wants to make me jealous. I've hated feeling this way because on the surface it seemed like we could have gotten along. This is probably why I kept giving chances when it should have stopped long ago. Once I moved into town a few months into our official relationship, Chris only hung out one-on-one with Mandy that one time at the concert. Every other time I'm there. I honestly have spent way more time with her alone, which is why she has made 90% of the comments to me. This is why it has been tricky for Chris to reach out to her when he's hearing everything from me. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not even accepting that. It shouldn't be tricky at all for your boyfriend to hear his girlfriend talking about how one of his friends is violating her boundaries. He shouldn't be like, oh, well, that's weird. I don't know if I can talk to her about it because she wasn't talking to me. No, that doesn't make any sense. And if that's coming from your boyfriend, I am extra sus now, which I don't think it is. I think that might be coming from OP. But anyway, I know that it's not a full excuse because I'm coming to him with these issues, Plus, he would rather avoid conflict, but we talked about this in my update. We both have not seen or talked to Mandy since the last incident because I told Chris I was done. However, even after that conversation a month ago, it didn't sit right. I posted this on Reddit after she sent a message to us both wanting to hang out, and while we didn't hang out with her, he made it seem like it was a possibility. So here is the update. Thanks to the Reddit commenters, I feel validated enough to bring it back up. We had a deep conversation where I laid it all out there. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I didn't allow him to be innocent in the conversation either. He did say again that her behavior is weird and has made him angry. I did mention that hopefully there won't be any other situations because we will avoid her, but I can't be the one to keep saying things to her. I won't lay out all the details of our conversation, but he came up with the solution on his own. Here it is. If Mandy is the problem, we will cut off the problem. Which should have been done as soon as she was like, I'm daydreaming about stealing your man.
Yes.
Come on.
But give him another chance.
No, come on. You're sweetie for doing it because you're like, oh, this is like, he's known this girl and they're friends, but doesn't sound like that's even the case. There is no need for her to be making him and I angry and uncomfortable. And I just want to let all y'all know that you could never make us angry or uncomfortable by joining us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. All you got to do is tap our profile and you're in. John.
Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, come on down.
You heard him, folks. We got just a little bit more left of this update, but honestly, I mean, if I was OP, I would seriously reconsider like my relationship with my boyfriend because it's like you can only be so oblivious before it becomes a red flag, and this is a big one. Like,
it shows misalignment.
Yeah, let's finish this story. I never showed him the post or the comments. I probably will later. Our plan now is to not make a ruckus, but drop her. I'm glad he's on my side, though I had no doubt about that. He truly is unproblematic. I just needed to lay it out there and communicate it, all for him to understand my true feelings. Communication is something we both need to work on. You got that right. I know I have talked to him before, but this time was different. Thank you everyone for validating my feelings and encouraging me to have a conversation and opening my eyes to how he needs to set these boundaries. Hopefully there are no more updates because there are no more problems. And that is the end of the story, so I guess no more problems for OP.
My girlfriend's words hurt my sister. Now it's over between us. Trigger warning, mental health and mentions of SH. So my girlfriend is 22 years old and I'm 20. We've been together informally for about a year, and we knew each other before that, and we've been in a serious, official, committed relationship for 10 months. By the way, this comes from Ignorance is Chris. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime Reddit. So my girlfriend has never met my family, and I was planning for some time to go back and visit home for 3 weeks to celebrate my sister's 22nd birthday. My girlfriend was happy about that, and she suggested coming along as it would be a good opportunity to meet my family for the first time, which I feel like, around a year, that's the time you meet families. And I thought that was a wonderful idea. I called up my parents and asked if it was okay if she came, and they said, sure. They would also like to meet her, and they prepared the spare bedroom for her. We arrived home, and things were going great. For the first week, they met each other. They really liked each other. Things were going fantastic. We celebrated my sister's birthday. It was really amazing. My girlfriend and sister really seemed to get along. There is trouble afoot. Seemed to like each other. For me, it is something incredibly special and important that they get along because they are both the two most important people in my life and dear to me. So it made me feel very happy, warm inside, cute and cuddly, that they really liked each other. However, we're getting to the big but in this story. However, after the birthday, in the next few days, I noticed things took a downturn. My girlfriend became a bit colder towards my sister, not as pleasant. She said something really mean to her when we were out one day. My sister suggested to my girlfriend that we go swimming at the beach. She said the weather was really nice. My girlfriend would love the beach. Sounds fine. My girlfriend had also brought her bathers and was more than happy to go. We went, the three of us, and were having fun until my girlfriend said something really insensitive and hurtful. What do we think was said?
Body comments. Why?
We were sitting in the sand after swimming and just relaxing when my girlfriend noticed my sister had all these old scars. My sister used to have really bad depression and still gets bad depression sometimes, though not as bad, so we can infer. When she was at the height of major depression, she used to harm herself quite frequently. The scars are around her thigh area, and she's extremely sensitive and embarrassed about them. She worries people think she's a freak if she sees them, even though my parents and I always try to reassure her about them. Since they are high up on the thigh areas, you normally can't see them at all when she wears normal clothing, but since we were at the beach and she was wearing a bikini, they are now clearly visible. My girlfriend noticed the scars and pointed, asking, "What are those?" My sister just responded very matter-of-factly, "Those are scars from when I used to self-harm," which I feel like for an insensitive question is like a very like matter-of-fact, and maybe like she's holding it together.
She's being very like kind to her, essentially.
My girlfriend said, "Why on earth would you do that?"
Why on earth would you ask a dumb question like that?
It's dumb, but like the sister might be kind too again and like give like a somewhat like okay response, you know?
Okay, first of all, sister, great responses, very like emotionally mature responses to be giving to a person who is not being very emotionally sensitive, which is the girlfriend. The girlfriend must be just very uneducated on this topic, I'm hoping, or it's intentionally malicious. Both are bad, one is worse. I'm hoping it's just that she is dumb as a rock.
That's what we're praying for right now.
If it's just ignorance, that I think can be more of a forgiven thing. So my girlfriend said, "Why on earth would you do that?" I piped in and pointed out that she went through a really difficult period a while back and had depression, but she feels much better nowadays, and we're thankful we were able to get past that period as a family. And you would expect the girlfriend to be like, "Oh, I understand. I had no idea I was asking something so insensitive. I wish I could learn from my mistakes." But no, the girlfriend said, "It's a stupid thing to do. Why would you harm yourself? I think girls who do that just do it for attention."
If that's what you think, you don't say it, you know?
Even if you thought that.
I'm rooting for autistic. That's our only hope.
Are we breaking up now or?
Because also, this is your sister. You've gone through her with this journey, you know?
If someone said that to my sister, oh, dude, I think that is a conversation to break up. I'm feeling that we should break up. Jeez. Okay. My sister told her she had no idea what she was talking about and had no idea what it's like to live and wake up every day hating yourself and wanting to hurt yourself. But my girlfriend maintained she just thought it was a form of attention seeking. And she was like, "I'm so glad I don't have scars like that." My sister just replied, "Well, good for you." And she was incredibly upset at this point and got up, storming away down the beach to sit somewhere else far away. I asked my girlfriend what had gotten into her and why she was saying that stuff. She insisted she wasn't trying to be mean, but my sister was too sensitive and took it the wrong way. In what way do you take that the right way?
Her doubling down and then tripling down is insane behavior.
I wonder if there's any part that's like, is this a kind of like,
Either like I feel superior or I need to put you down to feel better about myself.
I told her she was being incredibly stupid and should really think about what she says, especially if she knows the person has a history of depression. Some words can be really hurtful. I got up and left her to sit by my sister, leaving my girlfriend alone by herself, which is honestly a good move. My sister wasn't in the mood for talking about what just happened, so instead we talked about some other stuff and shared some jokes. My sister then started talking about my girlfriend and said, "You sure know how to pick them, huh?" Low key, earned.
Sis is coming with the hitters. She's got to roast them a little bit. Come on now.
I told her I had no idea what had gotten over my girlfriend, and she was normally so very nice. She had been nice to my sister all these past days. I didn't know why suddenly she was acting like this. Maybe there was something she's hiding or something she wasn't telling me. I was sure eventually she'd realize what she said was hurtful and apologize. Dude, I don't think this is the attitude you have. This is bad. I think, again, the reason people are mean is because they're insecure. That's literally the only reason. I think it's insecurity.
This is what red pill does to people.
When we got back home, I had a really private conversation with my girlfriend. I explained to her why what she said was hurtful to my sister, because my sister was, in fact, going through a very difficult emotional period when she did those cuts, and to imply it was all for attention was incredibly dismissive of the real emotion she was feeling at the time. OP is being very liberal with the amount of space and leash that he's giving his girlfriend to be an absolute crazy person. I told her my sister had every right to be upset with what she did, and I think a much deserved apology would go a long way in mending fences. Do we think that this girlfriend that commented that the scars from depression were just for attention, to OP's sister, do we think that this girlfriend is going to apologize?
Some fences are meant to be broken.
And sometimes the people who break those fences to be let to roam free and never invited back into your fence land again.
The mystical beast has been released from their...
I'm going to say no. I feel like I went to high school with this chick.
My girlfriend agreed, and she went and apologized to my sister with what sounded like a really sincere and heartfelt apology. My sister accepted it, okay, and said that she herself had overreacted, I don't know, and that girlfriend shouldn't feel bad. I was glad, but unfortunately, that was not the end of it, though I wanted it to be. I mean, again, she probably has not learned in the 10 hours that it's been since she said those terrible things. The next day, we were at a restaurant having lunch. It was really busy, and they were late with the food. When they finally brought it to our table, they had brought the wrong dish for my sister, not what she had ordered. My sister wanted to tell them so she could get the meal she actually ordered, but my girlfriend kept telling her to just go with it and eat what she got. My sister said no, she had ordered something and she should be able to eat that. She didn't want to eat the other thing, but my girlfriend said it would just make them take even longer and they'd be there for even longer. God forbid you're there at a family dinner for longer. They got into an argument and my sister told her it was none of her business, which is true. Let me have my own food. Then my girlfriend snapped at her and said, why do you always have to be the center of attention? Why does it always have to be about you? Dude, this girlfriend is manipulative. She apologizes and then is just like, but actually what I said is really true, isn't it?
Didn't mean it at all. Use the apology for the get out of jail free card and is right back to felonies.
Also, if she's doing this, I wonder if she's also isolating the boyfriend from his family.
Probably. She seems like a top tier manipulator. My sister got upset and asked her why she's being so mean. She didn't know why my girlfriend hated her. She had really tried to be nice to her and like her, but it felt like she was being mean for no reason. My girlfriend responded that she thought my sister was entitled, self-absorbed, and narcissistic. My sister then looked like she was about to cry and tears came to her eyes. My girlfriend just said, I don't give an F if you cry.
Seriously, where's the line?
What are you going to do? Harm yourself.
Gone, 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 gone.
Right now. Gone right now.
Leave immediately.
Oh my God. My sister then burst out crying loudly in the middle of the restaurant. It was very awkward with many people around us all looking at us. She was very, very hurt, crying over my shoulder. I put my arms around her, comforted her, telling my girlfriend I was upset with her and thought she should leave us alone for a while. Wow, OP is doing the most measured responses here. My girlfriend got up and left, saying, make sure Drama Queen doesn't unalive herself. I stayed with my sister and calmed her down until she stopped crying. She must have kept crying for at least half an hour. It was that bad. We didn't even end up eating much of our meal that we paid for, and I took her to the bathroom to dry up and wash her face. So obviously, this is terrible. This is someone who keeps running over the line. I think on this show, generally, we want to be understanding, right? We want to give people chances. We want to allow people to grow and learn. What it feels like is OP has given a measured response 3 different times. And the first time, maybe a measured response is warranted. The second and third time, for sure not. And at what point is the measured response hurting the sister by not getting this person out immediately? It's like by you being so, like playing it safe, trying to keep everyone happy, like make sure the girlfriend's happy, you are actually hurting your sister. You're putting her in harm's way from this person that wants like nothing more than to just see your sister hurt.
1,000%.
She kept saying to me, why does she hate me so much? What have I done to her? Am I really that bad? Calmed her down, hugged her, and told her there was nothing wrong with her. She had done nothing wrong, but I needed to have a serious talk with my girlfriend today. I couldn't believe how she was acting. She had a problem with me. She should take it out on me, not on my sister. She was still sorrowful, but we went home after that, and I went to talk to my girlfriend. Break up. Please break up. I sat my girlfriend down in my room, and we had a big talk. Instantly, she said, I know. I am so sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know what's come over me. Not going to cut it anymore. You could have said that the first time, maybe. Definitely done. She seemed to know she was acting cruel, admitted it, and she felt terrible. She had no idea why she'd acted this way. I told her I knew she was normally such a kind person, but why she had totally turned into a witch. She agreed and said she deserved that word entirely. She told me she thought she knew the reason. She said lately she's been extremely jealous of the close bond I had with my sister. She said she felt hurt and envious because we didn't have that kind of relationship ourselves. She said, you two grew up together. You have all these years of memories and experiences together, always being part of your lives. I wish we had that. I believe her. And she's someone that is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure she has what you and your sister have, or she destroys what you and your sister have. I told her we will have that. But she shouldn't compare herself to my sister. They are two entirely different things. I told her however she felt about the way I was acting. She had no right to take that out on my sister. That was incredibly immature and hurtful. She agreed and said she felt absolutely awful about herself. She told me one thing that had really set her off was when I gave my sister my present for her birthday. I bought her a hardcover edition of Anne of Green Gables, her favorite and most beloved book from her childhood, and I'd written a special note inside. My girlfriend said she remembered how much that made my sister feel happy and ecstatic when I gave it to her. She had cried, not because of the book itself, but because I remembered its sentimental value and how much she had loved that book from her childhood, even though she probably didn't mention it or ask for it. My girlfriend compared that to the gift I'd gotten for her birthday, a jewelry item, which, while more expensive, was generic and probably didn't have as much thought put into it, since every guy can guess a woman would appreciate jewelry. I told her I had no idea she felt that way, but I was sure that over time our relationship would grow. Please don't let it grow. And we'd learn those little things about each other. We can make new memories to share. I told her, however, the way she was acting towards my sister more than anything was jeopardizing our relationship. I can't be in a relationship with someone who treats her that meanly. I said she has to keep in mind that my sister does in fact have a very bad history of depression, and she still falls back into it from time to time. She may be more sensitive than most people. And her emotions may be more delicate, but that's just something we have to take into consideration when around her. My girlfriend said she perfectly agreed, and she would try to control herself and act much better around my sister, giving her a heartfelt apology. I told her I hoped for both of us. She was being honest and really would turn around her behavior towards my sister. I said she had been really nice and friendly to her when she first came, and she could be like that again. It would be perfect. I went to talk to my sister, but she was absolutely in no mood to talk to my girlfriend. She was still upset from earlier and did not want to hear another apology. She thought it would be meaningless. I told her that my girlfriend really does feel terrible and would like to make it up to her. My sister told me I had no idea how much my girlfriend hurt her with those words, and by expecting her to forgive her just like that, I was really hurting her. I told her I understood that so much, and I apologize, and I'm ready to give her all the time she needs. It's not time your sister needs, it's action.
And also this whole like make it up to her. It's like, how can you make it up to someone when you say such emotionally painful things? There is no making it up.
The only thing that would make this up to OP's sister would be OP breaking up with a girlfriend. That would show, hey, like, I care about you enough to end a relationship that I was in for 10 months, and I'm going to choose my sister over this 10-month fling with a person that is acting crazy and super cruel. I told her I understand that so much, and I apologize, and I am ready to give her all the time she needs. Even if she doesn't forgive her, I am okay with that and will accept it. My sister told me she wished I'd never come back for her birthday and that I'd never brought my girlfriend with me. She said she was happier when she was just alone with our parents. Me stomping back into her life with my new girlfriend just turned everything upside down for her, and on her birthday too. I told her I still had 2 weeks here, and if she really wanted, I could send my girlfriend back on her own so I could spend the 2 weeks I had left just with us. My sister said no. She didn't want me to do that to my girlfriend. I suggested we go to the beach again sometime, but my sister said absolutely not. She swore she'd never go to the beach again. I asked her why, and she just said because of my scars, and burst out crying again. It was awful to see. Just the mere mention of it set her off like that and made the tears flow out. I told her she had nothing to be ashamed of because of those scars. She went through a very difficult period, and she's an amazing person. We're all proud of her. Just said, I'm a freak. Why did I even self-harm? I told her she didn't need to try to hide them. Again, you are saying all these things, but the action that's going to make her believe that is breaking up with this person that said she did need to hide them, that said she was a freak for that, that said that she is being an attention seeker. Like, that is the action that your sister needs to know that you're on her side.
And another point, the part where he's like, do you want me to send my girlfriend back for 2 weeks? He's not taking any accountability or like standing up for himself or his sister whatsoever. He's like, well, what do you want me to do?
She's probably not in the place like emotionally strong enough to be like, oh, yes, get rid of him.
Where are the parents?
If this was my kid's girlfriend.
Okay, sweetie, it's time to pack up.
Anyone who would judge her for those scars isn't worth her time.
Also shouldn't be worth your time.
Nevertheless, she didn't want to ever be in a situation where someone could see her scars again. The next day, I went shopping with my girlfriend. We were picking out some swim shorts for my sister. I thought maybe if she wore shorts instead of bikini bottoms with her bikini, then she could hide the scars. So misplaced.
Not the point.
And she wouldn't have to be afraid of people seeing them. My girlfriend thought it was a wonderful idea. We bought a variety of different pairs because we didn't know which ones my sister were like, and we took them home. My sister was very happy with them. However, she is still feeling very upset and still seems to harbor some dislike and anxiety towards my girlfriend because of the things she did.
I bought her a couple pairs of like cool shorts. So like, we're good?
I've been considering asking my girlfriend to go back, maybe so that I can spend the remaining 2 weeks at my home with my family since my sister seems less willing to do things if she's around. She's still feeling extremely self-conscious about what was said. I'm worried that every time my sister sees my girlfriend, she'll remember those horrible comments and feel self-hatred over the scars again, which probably means I might not ever be able to have a relationship with my girlfriend. I really don't know what to do. So my question to you guys is, how best do you think I should handle this very complicated and delicate situation? It isn't that complicated, my guy. Should I send my girlfriend back home? Yes. And permanently, please. Or should I keep her here to try to further mend fences between them? Is there anything I can do to make them like each other more? Or should I just accept the fact that there will always be a rift between them and try to keep them apart? How can I help my sister feel better in this situation where she's still feeling upset and like crap? Basically, what should I do? What do you think would be in the interest of everyone involved for me to do? There is an update. Oh my God, the internet is going to tear this boy a new one.
I want to see the sense just beamed into his brain hole.
His a-hole is going to be so wide from everyone forcing sense into that man, but hopefully he will come away a little lighter with less of a girlfriend and more sense. So update. Thanks for all the advice I got from you yesterday. You'll be happy to know that my girlfriend is now my ex-girlfriend. Thank God. But your sister is going to be hurt by how you reacted forever. Even though you did the right thing eventually, it was a little bit too long. She's gone. It's over. I sent her home. I won't be seeing her again. First thing I did was apologize to my sister and tell her how sorry I was for having been a crap and useless brother. I should have been there for her, but I failed her by giving my girlfriend more chances even after how cruel she had been. I told her how ashamed I felt and how I'd failed her as a brother, and I promised her I would never do that again. I swore to her that I'd never put her in a situation where someone can do this to her again. I made a promise, and I really do mean it this time. She forgave me and told me how glad she had honestly really been hoping that I break up with her and send her home, but she didn't want to push me about it, and reassured me that I am in fact a good brother and I shouldn't be too hard of myself and call myself a crap brother. This is the most understanding family in the universe. I told her it is honestly what I am because I failed her when I should have been there for her. I explained the entire situation to my parents and told them everything that had happened and how my girlfriend was no longer my girlfriend because of what she had done. We are now through. I explained to them that the remaining 2 weeks we can all spend together as a family, and I'm really looking forward to that. Both my parents supported me and told me I've made a great decision. I told them I should have made it earlier, and I failed my sister by waiting too long, but they forgave me, thankfully, and we're understanding. The silver lining is he did it, and he did a good apology.
Maybe not 100%, but I think he's finally understanding, like, oh, I really messed up. Like, it was not okay that I let her continue to stay in the space and continue to cause so much pain for my sister.
By the way, you can listen to full episodes and stories just like this. You go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. We're going to go right into the end of the story. So some people had mentioned the shorts I bought. You are right. I was totally sending her the wrong message by getting her something she can wear that covers up the scars. I told her those shorts I bought are just if she wanted to use them, but I don't think she needed them, and I don't think she should use them. I told her, in my opinion, she had nothing to be ashamed of from those scars. I think the scars are very beautiful, and I think she is beautiful with them. She should be very proud of herself because she struggled through an immensely difficult period and overcame many hurdles throughout her life, and she ended up on top of it all as a winner. I told her, in my opinion, she is a hero, and she will always be my hero, the strongest and bravest person I've ever known. She was really happy to hear that, and so were my parents. She said she's not feeling as bad about those scars as she was the previous days, and she's ready to go to the beach again. Happy ending! I am happy that it ended in a good place where everyone's feeling better. I mean, thank God he's maturing. I guess he's only 20, but he really almost did the worst thing possible.
I hope he continues to grow from this, and I do like that he is continuing to hold himself accountable, even though his sister and his parents are kind of letting him off the hook. I think he needs to kind of center himself in that.
I think he is growing, which is big.
And stay there.
Stay there for the love of God.
Stay on the path.
My fiance is upset that I don't work traditionally. He wants me to do all the chores.
Sounds like a cool guy to me. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oy, oy, oy. What a loser.
The problem, my fiance is getting very upset at me for not working. I manage inherited investments and properties and pay myself a salary and not contributing enough in chores since I am a stay-at-home partner in his eyes. Even though I pay towards all of our bills plus provide the property we live in rent-free. He seems to think only time at a job counts, not money provided, and I don't think that's particularly fair. By the way, this comes from Lazy Me or Jealous Him. There we go. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we didn't previously have this issue until he took on more responsibility at work or more pay 6 months ago. Wedding planning has also been a stress on him and complicates things as he has compromised and agreed to a wedding. I've kept it small, but I know he'd rather not and would prefer a trip to the courthouse. I have some really close friends and godparents that this idea would really hurt. His parents would also be crushed, but he didn't seem to mind. So we compromised on a 40-person wedding, very small. I don't know if we should postpone the wedding or if this is just a blip, and even in premarital counseling, we don't seem to be able to get past these issues. The counselor says we're making progress and that it's natural, but my fiance will agree to things in counseling that he clearly does not believe later, and I don't know what's up. I think it is maybe the stress from his work, but I don't know, and I'm getting very scared. Issues he has with the way things are. Number 1, I have always paid for a cleaning service. They come 3 times a week, and he finds it a waste of money. I had this before we met. It's an HH expense he does pay towards. He only started complaining a few months ago. He thinks I should basically do all the cleaning they do. He used to do the dishes because I cooked. I do cook lean and there is very little, but he was in charge of running/unloading the dishwasher 2 to 3 times a week, cleaning up a pot or 2 after the meal, but now wants me to do both every single night. He also criticizes if I want takeout except on weekends where we eat out or get takeaway, as it's a waste of money and I'm just being lazy. He expects this even if I am busy, which does happen sometimes.
I'm gathering information right now. That's all I'm saying.
Some weeks, my investments and properties do take a lot of hours. It's just very sporadic. I have more free time than him, so he thinks I should do things like his personal laundry in my free time, and he gets angry if I do things like play video games, read books, watch Netflix while he's at work, especially if he has to do any chores when he comes home. I will occasionally do personal errands or chores for him, but I don't think it should be an exception. I feel very uncomfortable being forced into any traditional stay-at-home role and would definitely work if I needed the money rather than let him breadwin. He thinks I should spend less money on makeup, clothes, etc., as it's all vanity and it's not like I need it for my career, as I don't have one. He basically seems to not respect my time because I don't have a career, even though I have income and responsibilities and contribute. But this is very new. So while that would be a deal breaker generally, I don't want to break up if this is just due to stress. He will apologize sometimes after he says something and says it's just that work is so hard. He hates his new position. He wishes he'd stayed where he was, etc. I'm happy to support him in moving again, making less, etc. I will cut back spending as necessary for that, but I don't think all cuts are automatically on me. He spends a lot of money, leases an overly nice car while I drive an old 2004 Toyota I bought in 2008 used. He buys a ton of expensive groceries because he only wants to eat organic. He likes expensive booze. His golf gets very expensive. He buys nice clothes, so it's not like he's Mr. Practical and I'm Ms. Frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
We just have different priorities for our personal funds, which is why we keep some funds personal.
And that's totally fine.
And pausing because we're about to get some more background. My general thoughts before we really get more information is she does sound like rich, and but that's not necessarily like that's her own thing. As long as she's paying for all of these, funds or all of these expenses and stuff and contributing an equal share or whatever share they've worked out, then there shouldn't be an issue. And it feels like maybe the underlying problem here is either two things or either one of two things. One, he just wants to control her and doesn't, sees this traditional household role of like a woman to be like, you need to clean, you need to do all of this, or he doesn't respect a person who doesn't have a career. And that's like his own thing. And if he can't be with someone who doesn't have a career, then why are they together?
I feel like most of this issue could be solved with just like a good conversation that comes from a place of like love and respect and just like a chore wheel.
Yeah. But there's background. When I was in college, 19, my parents both passed away in a car crash, and I inherited some money and property.
There are a lot of car crashes every day.
That's sad. And I had no idea and thought we were maybe upper middle class. Oh, OP was like, I thought we were upper middle class, but we were really rich. I didn't have a trust fund. I had always planned to work. I took a year off from college and got some of their assets sorted and decided to keep and later expand the rental income for a combination of practical and sentimental reasons, I guess. I went back to college because I wanted a degree and finished a degree in accounting, but I've never used it or gotten my CPA. I really never worked a few retail and restaurant jobs because of boredom, usually seasonal. So I pretty much doubled my profit by saving, reinvesting, etc.
Dude, I'm sorry, but tell me you're wealthy in one sentence.
Yeah.
Sometimes I worked mostly out of boredom.
Sometimes I worked. Who's to say?
That's crazy.
I think I did a good job and my parents would be proud of me. I don't work, but I do manage the properties and actively involve myself. I don't have anyone doing it. I pay myself $60K annually. I consider it my job as it A, provides my income, and B, does require some sense and work and does stress me out sometimes. At first, I didn't work because I was sad. In college, stressed. It took me longer to graduate. I went to therapy. I had a lost year. I could theoretically get a job now and manage the property feasibly, but I'm not really inclined. Anything could happen with real estate, but I'm pretty well set with assets and revenue for the foreseeable future as much as anyone is, basically. I met my fiance right after I finished college and we've been together for 4.5 years. We are supposed to get married in January, smallish. I booked most stuff, but he had a say. I am paying for all of it from savings because he'd just as soon elope. Coming in around $7K with a lot of DIY, I asked him for very little help. We've already lived together and generally share expenses/finances. We put a % of our money into the joint account and a % into each of our personal accounts and would like to keep it that way so we don't have to check in for every purchase. We always have a rule that anything over $500 needs to be discussed. Separate assets will stay separate. A prenuptial has already been drawn up. He has some assets too. And there is an update. Prince X says she also lets him live rent free. Did it say that and I missed that?
But like, so, you know what I mean? Like, she's not paying a house payment. She inherited all of this property. She probably has to pay personal property tax at the end of the year on it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So unless he wants to pay a split of that, there's nothing for her to charge him rent for.
Sure.
It's a paid off establishment.
But also,
and
like,
you're in a
it's
partnership.
It's her, yes. But
If
it's
you're just
also
a guy,
like
that's
it's
one thing.
her, like it's her property at the end of the day. So I think right now,
But then
there's
if we're
really
getting into that
nothing-
territory,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah,
But in the territory of her property, well, then now it's hers to take care of as well.
Yeah.
If we're going into a landlord situation now where this is
Sure.
belongs to her, now you're responsible for upkeeping it.
more so my point is that like she is contributing something.
Exactly.
Like she has given a house.
Well, right, yeah, this is a partnership.
So I think like his kind of problem with it is that he just doesn't see her as like doing something that's like pursuing. Maybe I'm like guessing, but it seems like he just doesn't like that she's not pursuing a career in the same way that he is,
Yeah.
and like doesn't see that like her as doing something.
I would venture I would go on a limb and say he finds it unfair that he goes and works while she's at home doing Netflix and playing video games and doing her chores,
But
and
there
not even all of them.
is an update. Things in the comments that may have been relevant but weren't in my original post. Sorry. My fiance has Asperger's and is on the autistic spectrum. I guess I forget this may be useful information because I consider his to be very mild. I don't really know, but besides a few obsessive tendencies with his laundry and organization, I rarely notice it. He just seems introverted. This may have something to do with the way he may not be able to process and communicate how he feels as easily as may be expected. Not an excuse, but I suppose it is relevant. Obviously, this is also making his new management job harder as he's dealing with people more and code less. I do not manage stocks. I do have some stocks, but that is not what I pay myself out for. I manage rental properties. What I wrote in thread. Right now, I have 12 single houses, 10 college rental properties, rent by room. Jesus.
This
2
person
duplexes.
is very, very low.
And 1 really large Victorian house that is broken into 4 in apartments that are rentals generating rental income. Oh my
okay,
God.
quick pause. She's got a job. She's She's a property manager.
Yeah, she's a
She
property
does have a job.
That's a job.
But
Like, it seems like it's a really,
She's giving it away that it's an easy job.
Yeah, we know it's incredibly easy. She's
But-
like, sometimes I'm stressed.
She's like, the job takes
Occasionally.
care of itself for the most part, but
Yeah,
it
but
does
she has a
stress me
job.
out sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with all the money I make
I
off
have
of my
so
rental
much
property.
money. I also have a few flip projects going this year and have for the past few years. I managed the construction process there too.
Oh, do you though? Are you a construction man? I know project managers. You don't sound like a project manager.
Before my fiance had this new job, he worked 30 hours a week in the office, max, though it was a full-time job because the company he was at had one work from home day a week in which he almost never had any work to do, but did need to be near a computer. We used to play games or do something else around the house together on those days. He also really liked his job. I was happy with his low stress, low work lifestyle, and it suited mine, obviously, and I thought he was happy too. I didn't know he was particularly ambitious or interested in management. He did not include me in his decision as I have never micromanaged his career. Some posters suggested that we made the decision together for him to take a promotion, but I respect his autonomy in that, and we did not decide together. Well, I spoke with my fiance yesterday to attempt to make some progress with this issue while he has a long weekend and is a little more relaxed. I talked to him about my priorities in life, happiness, free time, hobbies, and said that I respected that he may have developed other priorities with his career, but that I don't want to feel my priorities are being stifled by it. And that's how his requests have seemed lately. I talked to him about how much his lifestyle has changed and asked if the new job was what he really wanted because he didn't seem to be reacting well to it. His answer was basically, it's not about what you want, this is what you do to be successful, which really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I tried to point out and stress that we only get one life and that being happy is more important than keeping score with success. I said if it made him happy, he should do it, or if he thinks it will make him happier in the future, I understand the sacrifice, but otherwise, why? He said again that he wished he could go back without being seen as a failure, so we looked together on the internet. A suggestion posters made about how common it is for engineers and programmers to feel miserable in management and go back. It came out that the big issue was how his parents viewed our life, basically, and that he felt they viewed him as a failure for not being ambitious. And I guess have made comments about me lazing around all day. I respect him finally being honest with this and understand how hard it must be, but I guess that's where some of the conflict is also coming from. He is still not sure what he wants to do about the job, but I said that I supported him either way, but not to the detriment of my priorities and values. I also expressed I'd be happy to have him come work on the properties or have him do PT programming work and we could make it work financially. He admitted traditional stay-at-home stuff came from his idea that he thought it would be a better defense of my time if I was doing the cleaning myself and so forth. I expressed that I had no desire to defend my time. I'm proud and happy with my life. He says he understands, but it's hard because a lot of people do not, meaning his family, I think. I told him that if he wanted a particularly domestic or a particularly ambitious woman, then I wasn't it. He expressed that he loved me and wanted to marry me and was sorry. He's just very confused and stressed. I do not really use social media much, but he mentioned his family has basically been dissing us, him before the new job, me always, on Facebook.
Who cares
Messed up.
about that? Who cares?
I have an old account, so I logged in and scrolled through his mom's history and his brother's. They basically said similar things to what some of the hostile people in my last thread said, calling me useless, trustafarian, lazy, etc., usually in veiled ways. They even wrote comments on my fiance's page about it. That's embarrassing for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a
I would be embarrassed to be them.
Yeah.
Or to know them. But you know what's not embarrassing? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left.
Yeah. If I could put just a cherry on top of
Put that
this,
cherry on
this
top.
is just two people who are not built
agree.
to be dating each other.
I agree. I think they have
And-
different priorities.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's just not going to work out.
Doesn't sound like OP's boyfriend's going about it in a very healthy way.
No.
Doesn't seem like, OP is seeing at all where he could be coming from either. And it's just like two wrongs are not making it right here.
Yeah.
They just need to split. It's not going to work out.
I agree. Again, I agree. Like, I think he is trying to control her.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, he just needs to say, and this would have been fine if he just said, like, hey, I think I want someone in my life who matches my ambition level and is like is working towards something. And I just don't see that from you. Split off rather than being like, you need to do this, this, and this. And if you're not living like that, like, you can't control someone.
Yeah.
You have to find someone who is, either willing to compromise in some way or is matching your level.
Yeah, and you can do that without making it a diss. You can be like, you have no ambition. It's just I don't think I can be in a relationship with someone
I want someone
who's already at the top of their mountaintop. Like, you've made it. I need someone to grow with. I need someone to grind with.
That's fair, but he's just doing it the wrong way.
If anyone's the a-hole in this, it's more the boyfriend.
I agree.
Than anyone.
They are all very big on work. Dad is surgeon, mom is ER nurse, brother is lawyer. This is all the in-laws. And successful. I guess these are their values, but I find this new development very unsettling and I'm unsure what to do or if it will always poison this relationship if we do go through with the marriage. I had always thought they liked me. They are very nice in person to me, but I guess that's fake. I don't really know how to talk to my fiance about this because I think family is really important and would never want to come between anyone and their family. I don't really know what to do that won't hurt my fiance, and I wonder if it's really fair to marry him if it will always make his family life miserable. And that is the end of that story. I think y'all just need to have a conversation.
I want to push for our relationship, but it feels like he gave up already.
Sometimes the fight's already over.
And this story comes from our very own community. Ladies and gentlemen, so get ready for one from our very own. I, 39 female, and my partner, 40 male, have been together for 4 years. When we met, it was an instant connection, and from day one, we became a couple. By the way, this comes from Affectionate Will in 1995. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Now, to provide some context, I got divorced 6 years ago. It was an extremely marriage that lasted 13 years, and I have 3 sons. It took 2 years to heal and find myself before I even considered entering into dating. I didn't actually set up my Tinder profile. A friend did while we were sitting through a long surgery. It became really funny to go through profiles. Some were absolutely hilarious. The pictures, OMG, haha. Either way, this is how I met Carl, not his real name.
Carl
is a software developer. He's brilliant, insanely skilled and talented dev. We had been together for a few months when my circumstances changed dramatically. Carl offered to let me move in with him. I was apprehensive and excited at the same time. The thing is, he stayed in a different city, not far, only 45 minutes, but it's a 180-degree difference. I went about repainting. His house was literally empty. He slept, ate, existed in his office, bed in there, and everything, so the house had not been maintained at all. Now, when I moved in, I started fixing things, repairing, repainting, etc., which he really liked and made it feel like a home. The commute to my kids, joint custody, when it was my time with them was the most heavy. They didn't like it for obvious reasons. No friends around, different house, totally different vibe of the city. I won't lie, it was an incredibly difficult adjustment. I uprooted, had no friends around, and my family lived in a different part of the country. I had no bearings. The people in the city were not nearly as open-minded and friendly as those in my city, and in this way, I felt very isolated. Of the people I did meet, only a small handful were authentic and intellectual and weren't offended by different opinions and viewpoints. It was hard, really hard, and to top it off, I wasn't working. Carl never showed me around the city, and the people I saw the most were his parents. Yeah, I mean, if Carl is literally sleeping in his office, I have a sneaking suspicion he's not a paint the town red kind of guy. I was battling to adjust, and Carl suddenly had to start traveling for work, like for 2 months at a time. So I was completely alone. Backstory, his boss was an a-hole, true in every way, not the, oh, he's a way, a real one. The red flags were on display. When I brought it up, Carl got angry. If I mentioned anything negative around this dude, it was met with serious anger. Carl literally couldn't see that his boss didn't give an F about him, but I could. This caused so much tension, even the suggestion of getting a CV out there to feel around was a taboo subject to bring up. So, off he went diligently as instructed. He'd be gone for months, back for a couple of months, and then gone again. His life revolves around his boss. But I loved and still love Carl. I do have to admit, it was super hard for me. We fought a lot while he was away, and I realized when I did cause a fight. It was because I was desperate for connection, and also what I think was a little jealous that he was having all these experiences and making memories out of exciting new places that I could not share with him. He was going to a hotel and sitting in a whole nother chair without her, dude. A whole brand new chair. Dude,
Think of all the chairs he sat in without me.
He watched TV on a couch.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
without her. Come on, dude.
He watched a rerun of The History of Paint on the History Channel.
Dude, you might as well just get married to someone else.
In an equally beige hotel room.
Golly.
He's like, I just want to know where the beige paint I love so much comes from.
It's his truest passion. I did explain this to him once I had figured it out, though. Either way, I was committed. I was in this 100%. I loved him. I wanted to stand by him. But things got crazier and crazier with his work, and he started assimilating the toxic attitude of his boss and treating me as though I wasn't a person. But I still tried. I'm an independent thinker. I have my own views. I have my own opinions. And there are times where I am definitely at fault and I will take full responsibility for them. I eventually found a job again and it was in my city. The commute was 2 hours there, 2 hours back because of traffic and super expensive. Carl and I agreed we would move back to my city since he works remotely from anywhere. So when we spoke about it, I put down a time frame saying that as soon as my contract became permanent, the move had to happen, basically in 7 months. He agreed. I kept reminding him, but I don't know if he just wasn't paying attention or if he didn't realize it was going to happen. Things came to a head in August of last year. I came home on a Friday and I told him I was going to be leaving Sunday back to my city. He broke down.
Yeah.
He broke down.
I mean, is this like just the chronic case of like, oh, you don't know what you have until it's gone? It sounds like he doesn't know what life is.
He literally loves paint.
His life is just one beige room to the next with his terrible boss that he loves. He has Stockholm syndrome for his boss.
Just marry the paint.
Yeah, just get.
Bro.
I've married the color beige.
He admitted that he neglected me and had treated me pretty toxically, begging me not to go. We both cried a lot that weekend because we were both in pain, but it was something I had to do, something he had known about that I had constantly reminded him about. He took me leaving as a sign that I was leaving him. That was not the case. I told him it was not the case, but he still believed it was. He left again for Thailand in October. I was still committed to him and I made this clear. In December, he was involved in a terrible accident that landed him in ICU for 3 days.
Oh my God.
And another 9 days after in the general ward. We were communicating healthily, expressing our feelings, growing and repairing us. I felt like the guy I had met was finally back. The man I knew was back. It was magical. But it was short-lived. It was also at this time that his boss revealed his true psycho colors that I had already known he was for years. Carl suddenly was thrust into chaos. He didn't know what to do, but at the same time, he stopped communicating with me. I had no idea what was happening, constantly asking if he was safe and what was going on. Now, if there's one thing I know far too well, it's chaos and having your world flipped on its head. I could absolutely 100% identify with the confusion, the overwhelm, and the fear for your life and safety. What kind of code is this man coding? Is this like Dread Pirate Roberts over here? Is he working for the most like trained, freaking coding like criminal organization software?
He's coding for the triads, the secret online mafia.
He's like Ozark, but like
and
a coder.
The penguins from Madagascar.
Bro,
he's coding for all of those people.
This is crazy.
But also, you moved in with him after you knew him for months. That's too fast.
This is territory I know intimately. Over the course of January, I was constantly trying to communicate with him, constantly asking what's happening, how he was, what his plan was, any kind of clarity that I love him and I support him. I was telling him to come home, regroup, and we can go from there. His answers changed day from day, if I even heard from him at all. It got to the point mid-January, I had no idea if we were even together anymore. The whole of January was I knew nothing, was told different things constantly. I was worried, anxious, and so fearful for him. I hated what he was going through because I knew exactly what it feels like. At the same time, I was grateful he had finally seen his boss for who he really is. And even though I knew this would eventually be the case, I hated that Carl was in pain. He told me he was coming home, but that all has changed. Instead, what started happening was him telling me that he actually didn't want to come home. He said his heart was no longer there and that we'd been apart for too long.
Oh.
I asked him if he was breaking up with me, and he said no.
Which is not what you just said, buddy. What you just said was, we've grown apart. We're no longer really together. Are we breaking up? No. Who said that?
No, that's
Who said?
ridiculous.
You did. You just did. Leave this man. Leave this man.
Please do.
Leave this man.
But this didn't align with what he was saying in his messages. I sent him videos every morning and evening telling him I loved him, I supported him, I will wait for him, but nothing apart from a thank you. For the last 12 days, I have literally, and I mean literally, been begging him to tell me if he sees me in his future or not. His response was that it's more complicated than that. What does that even mean? When you ask someone if they see you in their life and future, it's a simple yes or no. Yesterday, I couldn't deal with it anymore. I have cried so much for weeks. I have lived with not knowing what's going on at all. I sent a text saying it was a simple question to answer. And his silence and things he has said in his messages are actually the answer. And I'm listening now. After I sent that, I blocked him.
Nice. Give him what he asked for.
Yes. You see me in your future? Now you don't.
Yeah.
That's why it was complicated.
You found your own answer, which was, I guess we're broken up now. If you didn't
Yes.
think we were broken up before, you'll think we are after I block you.
Mm-hmm. By the way, there's a way where you can never break up with us.
And what way would that be?
Because we give you something that's so full of love, so full of everything you could possibly imagine, including full of stories just like this, full episodes. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you search OK Storytime, it's going to pop right up, and you have literally 49 straight days of content to listen to. So if you don't go there right now and just listen to our full discography, our greatest hits, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Opie says, my heart is shattered. I was fighting so hard, constantly telling him I love him, I support him, I'll wait for him, I will fight for him, then I'll stand by him through the darkest times, but it's like I didn't matter to him at all. Now I'm sitting here wondering how, in 1 month, our relationship went from magic to nothing. I'm wondering if he even cares that it's ended, if he loved me like he claimed he did, or if I even mattered to him at all. I kind of wish that he would post his side of things and his feelings so I could at least get some understanding of what has happened. I'm sorry this is super long, even super summarized, it's staying long, but am I the a-hole for not fighting harder? Should I have just given him more time?
No. OP, come on. OP, you listen to us. You're part of this family. Come on. You need a
Sometimes
hug and a little forehead kiss. Mwah.
things just need to be over, and it's okay for this to be over.
Yeah.
And you didn't need to fight harder for it, you know. The deck was stacked against y'all from the very beginning because of the moving in together situation kind of being thrust upon you. It wasn't really like a thing where you guys got to a point where it's like, oh, like, let's move in together. It was like, oh, like, I'm in between spots. I'm in a rough spot. And then it's like, oh, well, let's just move in with me into my beige palace with nothing in it except where I work. I'm struggling with my friend's breakup because I can't choose a side.
Choose a side!
I don't think I've done this, but the offended party thinks that's the case. All names are changed. I hosted a game night with my husband, inviting 4 of our friends. It was semi-regular every other week or once a month at the same time, due to some of the participants' work schedules being tough to work around, except for this one night every other week. By the way, this comes from user Kelsey Dives In, and if you want to submit your own stories, dive into r/OKStorytime subreddit and submit them there. So, Larry is my husband's best friend from childhood and earned the first invite. He brought along his girlfriend Jessie, who has since become a good friend of mine, and also invited his coworker Rob. Our friend Ella also attended. We had lots of fun. It kept up for a good year and a half of camaraderie. It's been one of the few things I enjoy during my week. I'm a newish mother of a 1-year-old and struggle making new friends. I genuinely credit this game night with friends, with part of my healing with my mental illness. Then Larry and Jessie broke up. It was nasty with lots of hurt emotions and shouting and the like. It had lasted almost 3 years by the time it was done. And for the record, they're definitely better off broken up. They had gotten so toxic. Larry took things especially hard. He was clearly worried he was going to end up socially isolated. And myself, my husband, and Rob did our best to assure him he was our friend no matter what. But then game night came around. I wanted to be fair, so I invited Rob and Ella and sent a separate message to Larry and Jessie explaining they were both invited, but if they wanted to come, they had to commit to being civil with the other party. If they weren't comfortable doing that, we would hang out some other time. Jessie said, yeah, I'm okay with seeing him. I can be polite. Larry said, I can't do it. So I replied, okay, I'll make sure we grab lunch sometime this week to make up for it. Larry believed he should have been given some kind of preference because he's been my husband and my friend longer than Jessie. He complained about feeling abandoned, and even when Rob decided he would go over to hang out with Larry one-on-one after game night, Larry bitterly remarked that it was a pity visit. Jessie is disabled on multiple fronts and has very limited opportunities for socialization. Plus, I had genuinely become close friends with her. She's my daughter's godmother. I couldn't just invite Larry and not her. It wasn't fair. Part of me wonders if I wasn't fair to Larry by basically hanging out with his ex while he sat at home alone, even if he was the one who decided he didn't want to see Jessie. It's been about 4 months since this went down, and not knowing if I did the right thing has eaten me up inside. I've stopped hosting game nights entirely because I feel so conflicted. Stop! Like I said, who's the best gamer? Invite that one.
Literally just invite the one you like more.
If Larry is being all...
Literally just invite the person you like more.
Because I feel so conflicted. Should I read a whole story like that? Help me out so I can finally move past this and maybe get back to having fun with my friends.
Woo.
And verdict was not the a-hole. And there's an edit. We're going to dive right in. Thanks for all the feedback. Here's my takeaway. I'm going to check in with Larry to see how he's feeling now that it's been a few months. If he's ready, we'll give things another try. And if not, I'm going to restart game night while alternating invites between Larry and Jesse. No!
Dude, don't.
That's weird.
Don't
That's weirder.
do that. Just stop inviting Larry. He's the only one who has a problem. He can't be that fun to hang out with.
If he's got this problem, he's got to work through it, and it's got to
In
be
his
his
own
own thing
time.
that he does.
I'm sick of Larry.
Let your husband, who's best friends with Larry, hang out with Larry.
Yeah, Larry can hang out with
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
cares about Larry? I literally don't give one single thought about Larry.
I'm also going to encourage Larry to start his own game night and tell him I'd love to come for it. Also, to clarify on the godmother bit, I had to choose somebody who practiced the same religion, and my husband and I are converts, so we didn't have any family that qualified. Our congregation is quite small, only around 75 regular attendees, and Jesse and Larry are the ones that are our friends and our age. But just because I chose her because she was on a very short list of options doesn't mean I don't consider Jesse a very close friend. We really have bonded over the past few years, separate from our significant others.
And we have some relevant comments here.
I think it would be helpful to have the perspective of OP's husband. Larry seems to view Jessie as an invitation because she is his girlfriend, rather than as a friend to the group. Thus, when she is no longer his +1, she is off the island. Or at any rate, because the breakup is hard on him, and he was friends first, he has friendship dibs on the group. What are we, 15?
I've got friendship
I'm sorry.
dibs.
Are we fully
I'm Larry
grown
and I've got
adults?
friendship dibs.
It seems like they dated for several years. It seems like. Do you not know? While you would hope people could focus on the positive, like tolerating each other for an evening, for some ex-couples, that's not going to be possible. If he isn't willing to be around his ex, then, intended or not, he is the one voted off of Game Night Island.
Yes, this is Survivor. And Larry, take your freaking torch and go.
Survival of the gamiest. Okay, OP responds to all of that, to that comment from Malbetheon. Throughout their relationship, Larry definitely did bring Jesse to everything. Our church, our parties, and my game night. He told me multiple times he wanted Jesse and I to be friends, since he knew both of us struggled with loneliness. So his behavior and his own insistence seemed to be that he wanted her to be a part of the friend group. The instant she dumped him, the story changed to the +1 scenario you described. Husband backed me up when I decided to invite both of them. I went to him for his take before doing anything. Scion 41790 says, info. What toxic events happened and was it balanced? I can see Larry being more hurt if she cheated on him and was just a bit rude to her. No cheating, says OP. It really boils down to them not being effective at communicating together. They would both get very angry and defensive and accusatory, and neither were ever willing to move on from previous slights. A great trait to have in a relationship. As I understand, Jessie ended things because she was tired of Larry lying over silly things and not following through on goals that they both had, like wanting to get married, but he wanted to save up for a car first and never proposed or even kept his driver's license up to date. Larry was also subject to a lot of belittling from Jessie. She wasn't particularly supportive and seemed to jump to anger quickly in arguments. I really don't think either party is solely to blame here. I know that sounds trite, but they just really weren't good together and have made strides with anger management and communicating their needs ever since the breakup. OP on what the game was. For perspective, yeah, it was D&D. That changes
everything.
Literally everything.
This is not a game night. This is D&D.
This is not a game
This
night.
changes
I
everything.
thought
It's
you were
not like
playing
you can just
Monopoly
switch up.
and Taboo.
You need people who are consistently there and are going to commit to time. And you will be like really in depth with people. Like that's teamwork. You need people who can get along. No, that would be too messy. This would be too messy. I would not want exes in my D&D campaign.
It really does come down to what you said.
Yeah.
It's just who do you like more?
Yeah. You cannot choose both. That's just not going to work.
We would frequently play other tabletop board games if somebody couldn't make it. There's the option of disbanding the campaign. No, there's not. And switching to one-shots or sticking to just board games. Actually, there's some good one-shot campaigns out there. Continuing our game of D&D wouldn't really work with alternating invites. New campaign. Are you kidding me?
You have to start a new campaign.
This is
oh, that changes everything because everyone was like, oh, well, why would you keep the ex around? Same campaign. You have to keep they're trying to keep both of them in.
new campaign.
You
fresh
have
start.
to start a new campaign.
Fresh start. Still, it might be worth it to preserve friendships, to change course, and stick to board games without a through line between sessions. My daughter's birthday has happened since this. This was way different from a game night because both Larry and Jesse are close to her and have babysat her before and after their breakup. I talked to my husband, who said we should invite Larry first to see how he felt, especially after how hurt he was by the handling of game night. Larry said he was fine seeing Jesse at my daughter's birthday. Remember, Jesse is also my daughter's godmother. The birthday went without a hitch until we were eating cake. Jesse brought up a tricky topic in conversation that has caused some tension in the past. Larry, who had been in the restroom, came back to the room, listened for a minute, and then chimed in with an aggressive comment. Jesse responded in kind to his aggression with similar aggression.
Oh my God.
And I cursed everything in the blue sky. What a line. Because now, not only was my game night ruined by my friend's breakup, but now they were about to make my daughter's second birthday awkward because they were fighting over something stupid. My husband was actually the one to tell them both to cut it off, and if they were going to fight, they could leave.
Yeah.
Larry shot off a quick "fine" and walked out the door just like that. Husband chased after him. The two of them were gone for well over an hour and a half while they talked over a lot of old resentments.
Ugh.
By the time my husband came home, our daughter was in bed and everyone except Jesse had left. She stuck around so I wouldn't be alone. And Larry, and also husband, what are you freaking doing? You're letting a grown man with an emotional temper tantrum steal you away from
For
your daughter's
birthday.
only second birthday.
Come on.
Come on now. Come on now. Jessie was very apologetic, admitting that she shouldn't have risen to Larry's bait, but the whole experience left a sour taste in my mouth. I still haven't gotten around to actually hosting another game night.
I think you just got to kick them both out.
Yeah, I think it's
honestly.
time. Fresh. Start fresh.
Yeah,
New
start
campaign. Fresh
New
campaign.
campaign.
My own birthday was yesterday, and I wanted to buy a new board game with my gift money, but ended up talking myself out of it with a bitter, who am I going to play with if I buy it? And by the way, you can play with us every single day of your life if you want. All you got to do is go to where we have full episodes with stories like this, and that's Spotify, Apple Music, podcasts, iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, if you search OK Storytime, you can find the whole
find us.
archive and listen to it to your heart's content. We do have a little bit of story left here. Honestly, who's the biggest a-hole right now?
Larry.
Yeah,
I'm a Larry hater.
Larry. You
Day
stand.
one
You
Larry
stand
hater.
on hating
Stand
Larry.
on Larry hater. But now I'm in like, also we should just get Jesse out of the D&D
Yeah.
group too.
I think. Yeah, I
drama.
agree with this. I agree. I guess the takeaway is, thanks for helping me get a better view of all the fun things going on with my friends. I'm trying to lean on my other friendships from my hometown, 3 hours away, as well as work on my own marriage and making sure we have healthy communication so we don't end up in the kind of bitter cycle that Jesse and Larry are stuck in. I appreciate all the feedback I got, including the brutally honest stuff. And we have some more comments here to finish it off. Sleepy witch disorder. Larry is truly the a-hole, storming out of a 2-year-old's birthday. Who does that? Apparently Larry. All that aside, I wouldn't get too down about it. People are fallible and have negative self-destructive traits sometimes, which has nothing to do with you.
Mm.
What about your other friends? What about alternating game nights between Jesse and Larry? You got this, OP. You can totally have fun and keep the peace.
True.
OP says he admitted as much to his credit, and I've seen a few adjustments to his behavior since that incident. That was about 2 weeks ago. And he seems to be showing that he is genuinely sorry. In terms of other friends, the crew I've mentioned in my original post is about it in terms of friends I have locally. It's kind of a sore point for me that I have more friends, but they live 3 hours away due to all having moved there for work after college, and it also being my hometown. I'm sort of out of my element where I live now, even after being here for 2 years. I need to man up and try to host a game night again for my own sanity, but I'm worried that Jesse and Larry just can't be trusted to be civil, and I still don't know how to manage an alternating invitation that won't hurt feelings. That is the end of that story, and I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Just start fresh.
Start fresh.
Just start a new one.
Start a new one.
You don't have to worry about it. You can still involve them individually.
And other things.
But D&D is too complicated
Yeah.
to try to get, and it's like just to make sure no one feels like they're
just
like
leave them both out.
excluded. Yeah, exclude both of them
both
so that
equally.
none of them can feel like they're getting special
Yeah,
treatment.
just say like, hey, like it, I just seems like it wasn't working, so we're gonna start a new. Don't even tell them, honestly. Just say, hey, we're doing other game, and then you can have regular game nights with them. But your D&D campaign is more exclusive.
There will be questions. It's like you cannot tell them, but they are going to say, "Hey, so what happened to D&D? Where's the D&D? Are you doing D&D? Who's doing D&D?"
Yeah,
That's
and
just
if
how it
you know,
goes.
if you want to be honest, you can be like,
People who
it's
are
too difficult.
into D&D are going to ask you
True.
where it went.
It
That's
is
for
true.
sure.
I want my brother-in-law to break up with his girlfriend because she's isolating him.
Break up with your girlfriend. She's isolating.
And there we go. This situation is a bit complicated, so bear with me. My partner has 2 brothers, and they've always been close as a family. However, since one of his brothers, let's call him Jake, 23 male, got into a relationship with his girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, 24 female, things have completely changed. By the way, this comes from professional Aioli 532, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, Jake and Sarah have been together for almost 2 years now, but the way the relationship started was messy. Sarah was actually dating Jake's childhood best friend, someone he had known since he was 5 years old. The 3 of them lived together and decided to move countries as a group. But once they arrived, she dumped her boyfriend of 3 years and immediately moved in with Jake.
How hot is Jake?
That's a little suspicious.
How hot is Jake?
He's got to be hot. But also, I would be like, if I were Sarah's partner, I'd be like, that's suspicious.
It informs you to someone's true nature.
They had been messaging and communicating secretly for months before the move. As a result, Jake lost not only one of his best friends, but also most of his other best friends back home as they understandably lost trust in him.
Yes.
We all made an effort with Sarah in the beginning, giving her the benefit of the doubt because she told everyone that her ex had cheated on her and that she wasn't happy for a long time. And then you cheated on him?
This story is already so messy.
But in hindsight, she still decided to move countries with him despite having the perfect separation due to distance. They were all living together at Jake's parents' house when his best friend found out, and she jumped from one to the other and left the ex in the dust. Sarah is controlling and manipulative. She doesn't have many friends of her own, so she clings to Jake for everything. She also made sure to insert herself into every friendship he's made, so he has no social life without her. She also has a lot to say about his familial relationships and how close he is with his brothers, and that it's weird to want to invest in things with them instead of her. She convinces him that the relationship is normal and healthy, even though she isolates him and pressures him into acting like a grown-up, despite him only being 23 and having barely lived his life yet. For additional context, Jake, Sarah, and my sister originally decided to move in together because Sarah and my sister got along well at first. My sister actually furnished the entire house with furniture my mom left her, so they only had to buy furniture for their own room. They were fine for about 6 months. Then Sarah and Jake started treating my sister differently. Ignoring her, acting moody, making snarky comments, and cutting her out of things. I think Sarah got into Jake's head about my sister, turning him against her, despite Jake also knowing my sister for many years and getting along really well throughout this time.
Gross, Jake. Why are you being a little,
Jake.
malleable ball of Play-Doh?
You know that Jake doesn't
manipulated?
have, great morals. Eventually, my sister felt so uncomfortable that she decided to move out and take the furniture she had provided. Jake and Sarah reacted badly, not because they were sad to see her go, but because they suddenly had to buy their own furniture and actually be adults. Despite Sarah always pressuring Jake to grow up and think about the future and buying a house together, etc. It felt hypocritical, and instead of acknowledging that my sister had every right to take back her things after they had treated her like crap for months, they called her selfish and treated her terribly. And that's when you say, I don't freaking care, bye. And
Bye.
you take your stuff and you never talk to them again.
Bye-bye.
Even went as far as barging into her room and yelling at her for being a bad person when they thought she had used some of their cleaning products.
What?
Yeah, Jake sucks.
You're going to yell at her for being a bad person because she
cleaning?
cleaned the place you all live?
Nah, babe, I like the trash.
Keep in mind, they had always been communal cleaning products until my sister said she was moving out, and they decided that the cleaning products were no longer communal. It doesn't even make sense to have non-communal cleaning products.
Yeah, what is that?
Like, you should all be chipping in on them, but like, what? Everyone's got to have their own Windex? He only showed any regret when my partner called him out for speaking to a woman like that, especially someone he has family connections to and has known for years. On top of that, when Sarah and my sister lived together, Sarah would constantly complain about having to work with me and how much she didn't want to work in general. She also made really out-of-pocket comments about my partner, one of them being along the lines of, "He gives me the vibes that he would cheat," despite the fact that we've been in a relationship for nearly 10 years and he has never given me any reason to feel that way. She would also say comments about his family members, in my opinion, to change his opinion of his family and make him think that his family is dysfunctional, or treating him poorly to isolate him from them further, as she knows he looks up to his brothers and respects their opinions. It's gotten to the point where Jake doesn't go anywhere without her, even when the brothers try to hang out just as siblings. If we invite him to something, he will only come if Sarah is invited too. I think she tells him that because they're a couple, she should always be included. The problem is when they are together, they're not pleasant to be around because they enable each other's behavior and have made multiple family gatherings uncomfortable. It also doesn't help that I work with Sarah, and I feel like she's aware that I don't trust her. She can be extremely moody, and it's difficult to separate work from personal life, especially after all the aforementioned things that took place. Please note, I also made a huge effort with Sarah. She asked for a job at my work, and I gave it to her. I would invite her over to hang out, lend her my clothes, open up to her about various different things, and she has just proven time and time again that I shouldn't trust her. Less once you cross my family, I find it hard to be civil or want anything to do with you. Don't freaking cross your family.
Don't cross me,
Don't cross me, dude, or I'll fight you. By the way, you wouldn't be crossing us if you listened to full episodes of stories just like this.
That's
just
right.
go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
That's right. And never cross
Don't
us.
freaking cross us. Don't even
Never
try.
cross us. Or I'm going to cry.
Please cross. But there is a little bit left to this story. Honestly, she might be isolating Jake, but also he's very complicit in this behavior.
Yeah, no, they both suck.
They both suck.
They both suck. Jake sucks. She sucks.
The whole dang people
Don't even
suck.
be involved. They both suck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you probably don't want to hear that
No, but it's
about
true.
Jake,
I mean,
but
like,
it is true.
at this point, Jake, even before they got into a relationship, he basically, was complicit in this woman cheating on her partner, at least emotionally.
Yeah.
So that's also not good.
So, just let Jake and Sarah just be two stinky
Two
little
stinky pods.
peas in a
stinky
pod and
pea.
save the potential next woman that Jake would date or the next man that Sarah would date from having to date either of them.
Yeah, because they just take themselves off the market.
Exactly. Let them be stinky together, and it's not your responsibility
Mm-hmm.
at this point.
Agreed. But there is a little bit more. Despite all of this, Jake still believes that Sarah is the love of his life and that they'll be together forever. We feel like he's being manipulated and pressured into making lifelong decisions just to keep her happy, and that he's too deep in it to see the red flags because he gave up so much to be with her and is scared to face any of the repercussions. Now I feel stuck. We want to be able to hang out with Jake as he used to be funny, kind, and unproblematic. But since he has been with Sarah, he is a completely different person. Please let me know if you think I'm being dramatic in this situation. Am I the a-hole for wanting them to break up? And there are some comments to finish off this story. Comment 1, given your description of her, I was saying not the a-hole for wishing the relationship will end. However, he is a grown man and it's not up to anyone other than him to do that. Speaking badly of her, I would think would make the relationship stronger, creating an us against the world scenario.
Yeah.
I would leave it up to them if you all say nothing negative and he's listening to her badmouth all his family while there is no retaliation from his family, then I'm sure he will come to his own conclusions fairly quickly. And if he doesn't, then I guess you just accept it's his life and get on with yours. Comment 2 says, you are not the a-hole for wanting that, but you would be if you acted on it. All you can do is model better behavior. Have the remaining 2 brothers do things together. They should leave an invite for him, but say brothers only, that they weren't inviting any partners, not even you. No, don't make exceptions for Sarah, just express regret that he can't make it without her. Bonus points if the event is to an event he would love, but she would hate. At family gatherings, make a point for the brothers to have time together and the partners to have a time together. If she starts to complain, make sure to loudly proclaim, hey babe, have fun with your brothers. I know you enjoy your time with them. If extra petty, add, and I love it when you guys have the chance to have brother time.
Yeah.
Just brother time.
Just a couple brothers having brother time.
Reply, make sure you post a lot of pictures of their brother time.
Brother
It's so funny. I'm just imagining someone like taking a bunch of pictures of like their partner and their brothers, and they're like, brother time,
Brother time.
brother time. And it's just a story full of like 10 pictures of these guys. And it's like, hey,
It's
just
a-
having some brother time.
It's a carousel post with 20 pictures,
Yeah.
and the caption is just brother time with the sun next to it. Like a little sunshine. Brother time.
fun.
Sunshine, rainbow. Brother time.
Brother time. If he ain't online, text them to him. We missed you, but it was so much fun. Make him know what he's missing. Comment 3.
Missing that brother time.
It's
That's
not
what he's
freaking
missing.
brother time. Comment 3, not the a-hole. You're concerned about Jake and his well-being. You want for them to break up. Comes from a place of love for him instead of anger at her, even if that is a factor. If it was my brother, I would tell him that I love him, but I don't want his girlfriend around until she understands that some things don't involve her. For example, the boys in my family go out every year for my dad's birthday to see a movie. Nobody else is invited, and our significant others understand this because it's a family tradition that started when my father was alive. If Jake's girlfriend can't come to terms with the fact that everything in his life doesn't need to revolve around her, then she's a toxic human that needs to be dumped. Unfortunately, making Jake see it is a lot more difficult. Good luck. And that is the end of that story.
I accidentally revealed why I broke up with my ex. His girlfriend left him after that. I, 27 male, had a relationship with him. Let's call him Mikey, 26 male, around 5 years ago. Mikey and I met at college and started as friends, then turned into a couple. We lasted almost 2 years, but I broke up with him 3 months before reaching that date. By the way, this comes from Tonight Lost 57. And if you want to submit your old stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, the summarized reason on why we broke up was because he didn't give me my place as his partner and prioritize time with any other person that wasn't me. I'm not saying like the he wasn't with me 24/7 kind of thing, but the we agreed to a date to hang out together and he canceled on me for the 8th consecutive time to hang out with his friends kind of thing. It wasn't the lack of love or cheating on behalf of no one. And I tried to break up with him thrice, with him begging for another chance, and each time with him doing absolutely nothing to change. So the 4th was definite one, and despite him asking to get back together, I stood my ground and ignored him for at least 6 months before talking to him again. By the time I talked to him again, I had already moved on. I'm not sure if he did too by that time, but I was clear in me not to have romantic feelings anymore, and that I was willing to be friends again because I missed him as he was my best friend previous to our relationship. I put some strong boundaries, like not trying to make a move on me ever again, and many others I don't find relevant for this post, and he seemed fine with it. Now, we are not the bestest of friends. We are just friendly to each other, but we're not awkward about not having the same level of friendship than before. Since we used to be more physically affectionate now we aren't. I dated some people, but I'm currently single, and he's gotten into a relationship a few weeks ago with Carly. We knew Carly way before being friends or getting together, and both me and Mikey loved her because she is a genuinely amazing girl. When they announced they were together, I was happy for them, but at the same time, I was low-key worried about her since apparently what broke my relationship with Mikey happened with his previous partners too, according to what he said to me himself. So I was a bit concerned that he would try and pull that same card with her, but ultimately decided to not intervene since his new relationship was not my business now.
Just enlightened. I like that. That's
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to mind your business.
Because Mikey's your boy. If you heard something about Carly, I'd be like, yo, this is what I heard about Carly. But Carly's not your girl. Carly and you are not like super tight. So, but it does suck that you know. But if Carly, here we go. Carly comes to you. Hey, is there something I should be worried about? Boom.
There you go. Yeah, don't just do it unprompted. But if you're asked for the info, go ahead.
Well, I ended up unintentionally intervening. Kind of. We were all hanging out with friends 3 weeks ago when we started talking about relationships. And I commented how I was fine at the time being single and getting occasional matches on Tinder. I used to be very active on Tinder before, but now I slowed down a lot and I'm much happier being by myself. He said something like, haven't found someone to leech onto yet. I was a bit surprised by his comment because, first of all, it wasn't like him to say something like that. I thought someone else said it before realizing it was him after everyone turned to look at him as shocked as I was. And second of all, what the heck? Why does he suddenly have the audacity to say it as if I was always demanding his attention? I honestly ended up playing dumb and I tried to stay clueless as possible. What do you mean? I don't think he was trying to mock me because the entire time he had a dead serious expression like it seemed he actually believed I was the one being clingy. He responded, you know, man, like those times you got mad at me for going out with my friends and stuff like that when I tried to act nonchalant and said, oh yeah, I remember, yeah, I was pretty mad back then. I was expecting that we could go on our date as promised, but you canceled again to go out with friends without telling me in time. But it wasn't even leeching, and it happened a long time ago. Why are you bringing it up now in front of everyone?
Yeah, that was a weird power play. That's going to get Uno reverse card right back at you.
Yeah, I recently had a conflict with someone, and it didn't go well, and it was in front front of someone else, and I just didn't know what to do with myself.
Oof. You got to play the
And it was
the
all my
peace,
fault.
The role of peace. Oh, so it was just like you misspoke essentially.
Basically.
Oof. Yeah, I hate when that happens.
I
That's happened to
misspoke,
me.
and it just didn't go the way I planned.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, especially when it's like, given the context is like he's going to hang out with his friends, and it's like, well, we had a date, but couldn't you at least be like, yeah, do you want to come hang out with my friends too?
Yeah.
Like you just completely ditched your partner multiple times over and over again.
Carly looked at him a bit confused, like expecting him to clarify what I meant, and he said, well, as I said before, I wasn't gonna choose between my friends and my boyfriend. Both were important to me, so maybe it's good you stay single for a while. The world doesn't spin around you, you know. Carly seemed a bit shocked by his response, which I understand since Mikey is usually a really gentle and loving guy as a partner and as a pretender, and tends to be extremely romantic at first before pulling out. So the sudden accusation towards me seemed very out of character. I replied, well, it's obvious the world doesn't spin around me, but we were planning to get married. Wasn't it a good enough motive to prioritize me a little bit more? Because I did prioritize you, and you even promised me to change every time I try to break up with you. So, of course, you knew you had to prioritize me. You just didn't want to. Mikey seemed like he wanted to argue more, and I stared at him in silence waiting for his reply. But he kept quiet instead and didn't say anything while he kept sulking the rest of the hangout. My friends and I moved on from the awkward moment, but Carly and Mikey obviously didn't. Carly looked very conflicted and deep in her thoughts after that. We all eventually left to our homes, and nothing eventful happened until this morning. I must remind you, 3 weeks have passed, and I kind of forgot about the small argument I had with Mikey during that hangout, especially because we tend to go out with our friends almost daily. But around 3 days ago, Carly stopped showing up, and Mikey excused her, saying she was feeling under the weather, and that's why she wasn't coming. Then yesterday, Carly suddenly left the group chat without a word. We were all confused and a bit worried, but she sent a DM to everyone assuring she was fine and that she wasn't mad with us or any dangerous situation, which calmed us down a lot. But unlike the messages she sent to the rest of us, my friends, Carly sent me a longer and, to tell the truth, somewhat sad one. She first started the explanation she sent to everyone that she was fine, and then proceeded to tell me that after hearing what I said about Mikey about a relationship, she started having her doubts because she had a really similar experience to what I was describing in a previous relationship, but with the much more heavier stuff going on that I won't detail here. But it was a very emotional, harmful, and draining relationship, and she didn't like how he responded to me when I argued that he should have prioritized me much more than he had done. So I think Mikey probably yelled or had a kind of
No,
vibe.
I think it would be while sitting next to your partner going like, yeah, I told you, person who I was considering marrying, I won't be made to choose between you and my friends. And then she's probably there like, but you would maybe choose me over your friends if we were going to get married, right? Like, what? Just a weird thing to say. It's just I don't know what he was on, man.
She feared he would do the same to her, so before taking any decision, she sat him down and asked him about his priorities in life. And yeah, she found out that while he was eager to compromise like he did when we were a couple, he pretty much didn't want to prioritize her enough and excused himself on the fact that he was an emotionally invasive type and has always been, basically implying he was like that and he probably wouldn't change. She broke up with him and she was still pretty sad. She told me she wasn't sure if it was the best decision since Mikey was a wonderful guy, but the thought of him doing the same to her once again gave her so much anxiety she had to get out as speedy as possible. She asked me not to reply, but she appreciated me and thanked me for everything. We weren't really close friends, but we got along really great. I didn't reply like she asked, but left a hugging emoji just to let her know I read it. A whole different story can be said about Mikey though. He is devastated and doesn't seem to understand why she left him, and is seriously thinking of asking her for another chance, even when she denied it when she broke up with him in person.
Oh, wait a minute. Is Mikey not being emotionally evasive right now? Ooh. Oh, what is that?
I feel like Mikey, there's a checkbox on Mikey's list, and that's a partner. And once that's good, he's like, I don't have to worry about finding anyone else. I can just go out, do my own thing, hang out. But when that box is not checked, inside, little hamsters going crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what the mental of that is like, wait a minute, I don't have a partner to neglect anymore. But who am I gonna neglect while I choose to hang out with my friends instead?
I had to give him a mental smack by scolding him and telling him that he should put himself together and stop being mediocre in his relationships, because the only reason everyone leaves him is because he doesn't put any effort into his relationships. He got mad and said I had no business in his relationships and that I didn't have to say unnecessary stuff to his girlfriend. Well, now ex, lol, because I put her against him and now she thought he didn't love her, which is not what she said or thought at all. I kind of chuckled because of how ridiculous he was being and said, all right, bro, whatever, and left. Thinking about it, maybe I was a knucklehead telling him all that stuff now, and I should have been gentler about it since he is having a breakup. I don't blame myself for telling him his truths in front of his girlfriend because he brought it up first, but maybe I could have handled it better and changed the topic since the beginning. I don't know. I'm confused and part of me feels guilty since a relationship ended because of what I said. Am I the a-hole? I don't think you're like the a-hole at all.
I mean, if you had brought it up first at that little gathering, like he literally like took a shot at you and then you were just like, defense, deflect. Yeah, here's reality. Would you like to reply to that? And then he did. And you again were like, well, sidestep, that's not real. Here's what really happened. And then he literally was... Yeah, he dug his own grave there. So I don't know. You're not at fault there at all.
It's not your fault. Not your fault. Guys, what do you think? But I'm going to get back into this update now. I'm updating at this hour of the morning because I stayed up all night talking through the phone with Mikey and we had a productive conversation. So it turns out he found my post and almost since the day I made it, lol. I thought of the possibility since he also uses Reddit, but I wasn't too worried even if he saw it, because if he saw it from the perspective of strangers, maybe he would realize how foolish he looked. And it worked like a charm because he did get too self-aware of how he was acting. He stopped talking to me for a while after our last fight, but honestly, I was a bit too done with him to care. I was like, if this is how our friendship ends, then this is gonna be on him because I didn't do anything wrong. Honestly, I'm a bit too prideful, especially when I didn't even do the first attack. So I mentally refused to apologize to him since he was the one responsible for messing up his relationships. Well, last night he texted me the link to my post saying, you didn't have to describe me like that. I asked him, did I lie? And he didn't reply for a while, but called me a few minutes later and we spent the night talking about the issue. So, well, he told me after Carly broke up with him, she tried giving him another chance because, like I said, he was a really sweet guy and she really liked him. He didn't want to try it again, too, but apparently he said something about me that really annoyed her. He didn't want to tell me what it was. I think what he said was to mock me because he said I would get mad if I knew, which already got me really irritated, but I didn't want to make a fuss because I still wanted to hear what happened.
So let me get this straight. You get broken up with by your girlfriend because you said some out-of-pocket crap about OP. You manage to get back together with her. She gives you another chance. Then you say more out-of-pocket crap about OP, your ex, and she leaves you again.
Yeah.
You're a fool, my guy.
I didn't elaborate in my previous post, but even though we weren't close, Carly said to me and also Mikey that she appreciated me for a few favors I did when she needed them. I did tell her at times she didn't need to compensate me and just return the favors when I needed them, and she did. So even if we didn't talk too much, we still got along really well and would consider each other good friends. So when he said that she got angry with him, not in an aggressive way because she is not like that, but she got cold with him, and after avoiding him like the plague for some time, she broke up with him. She said she didn't like the fact he wouldn't put his crap together and that he mocked me even when he was the one starting the petty argument. And I just defended myself. I'm trying to he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He just doesn't, it's just not clicking with him.
He just didn't know how to not run his mouth from the sound of things.
Yeah.
He's just a very me, all about me kind of person.
And you can't tell him that he's wrong.
Any person who's like, I need a partner and I need, I want you to like be with me and you can't leave me and blah, blah, blah. And then by the way, going to be completely emotionally avoidant. And I'm always, if it comes down to, we have a date night, but my buddy's like, yo, come over. We're going to watch Lord of the Rings for the 17th time. I'm going to go hang out with them. And it's like, and by the way, my ex is smelly and I hate them. It's like, dude, stop it.
Yeah.
You're just motor mouthing your way into the ground.
She has been rejecting his calls and blocked him. And when he cooled down from the breakup, he started reflecting on his behavior. He apologized to me and acknowledged that he was being a butt. Like I said at the start of the update, Mikey found my post, which only made him more resentful towards me. When he read it, he started feeling self-conscious about his attitude, but was in denial. He didn't tell anyone because that would mean he would have to show them the post and potentially have them agree with me. So basically, he knew that if another friend saw the post, they would 100% disagree with Mikey, and that would either hurt his pride or make him angrier. He didn't want to talk to me, but after Carly broke up with him, he started to realize that the argument in the first place was very dumb, especially over something that we both had already moved on from a long time ago. He admitted that he felt a bit hurt when we first talked since our breakup because I moved on from him way too fast. He was kind of expecting to get back together after giving each other a break, lol, for a few months. But when I came back to talk to him again, I was dating another guy, so his hopes were shattered.
That guy's just toxic. That's toxic. That's a toxic assumption.
He might be doing word jujitsu to get back with you, or word salsa. He's trying to accept that we weren't meant to be, even when he said he was fine with it, and it hurt even more because I was very firm when I told him I wasn't interested in him romantically anymore. I honestly didn't know about it, and while it was not my intention, and maybe it did hurt that I even resumed contact with him, but when I said I missed him as a friend, I meant it. Outside of those things, he's still been an amazing friend. He was with me when I lost both my parents in an accident. We graduated together, and he even took me into his home when I felt alone, even letting me bring my dogs with me to play with his dogs. I felt bad because all that time I thought about my own feelings, but didn't think that coming back to resume our friendship would hurt him. He doesn't have romantic feelings for me now, but he was still salty about it, in his own words, by the way. When we ended up talking about our unrelated stuff, when we cut the call after he realized he was getting late to work, so I would say that we ended the call on good terms. I think we are back to being friends now, but I won't push or invite him directly to spend time with me. I'll only do it when we are with our friend group to make it less awkward. I feel relieved that we have talked things out, and thank goodness, because I miss messing around with him. But again, I'll take things easy. One of our friends even jumped into my DMs asking if we made up after Mikey sent something to the friend chat, and I interacted with it after ignoring each other during our argument. When I said yes, he sent a lot of happy cat stickers. I think he's glad, lol. And guys, you can be glad that after this story, there's a place for you, a place for your ear holes, and that is where to go to?
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I mean, even YouTube has a podcast section you can find us on. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 1,200 hours worth of stories.
Boom. Do you think this is a friendship that should have got back together?
It doesn't sound like Mikey's going to actually level it out. Like, it sounds like, because again, what do we know about Mikey? Mikey talks, he says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then does not do that. In fact, does the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So Mikey could be like, I've moved on, everything's fine. But has he moved on?
If Mikey actually changes from this and actually has some self-realization, I'm down for it. But
Sure.
if not,
People can change.
anyways, in case of any of the people who gave their opinion on my previous post or reading this, thank you for validating my feelings. I felt at some point I was being unreasonable even when I knew I wasn't. I just needed some confirmation since our friends didn't want to take sides, so nobody other than Carly reassured me about what happened. I'm seeing you, Mikey. Okay. They can see through the fourth wall. Guys, that's the end of that story. That kind of ended on a weird note.
Yeah, that was kind of, I'm not sure if that was ominous or if it was like, I'm seeing you, Mikey, like we're seeing each other. I don't think so. That I would definitely not recommend again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
Anyways, OP, you did the Lord's work right there, trying to get someone to realize their flaws. It's now on them, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. You've done your part.
I discovered the truth about me and my girlfriend's relationship. it changed everything.
No, are you gonna break up?
So, for a quick background, my girlfriend, 24, and I, 27, have been dating for around 8 months now. I first met her at a funeral, of all places. I wasn't close to the deceased. They were a friend's uncle, and I was just along to keep him company. By the way, this comes from user throwaway account 985858, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. In any case, I wasn't particularly sad looking. I was talking with a family friend and smiling, which she noticed and made a pretty morbid joke asking if I put him in the casket. It was so blunt, I just sort of laugh snorted, and we got to chatting all afternoon, ending up with her number in my phone by the end of it. She was funny, witty, pretty, and a genuinely fun girl to be around. So of course I took a chance and asked her out, which she accepted rather eagerly. My ego was through the roof at that. Little did I know. I came home a little earlier from work last night. I was covering a shift, and the bloke I was covering came in anyway, so they didn't need me. Anyway, I came home earlier than planned and overheard my girlfriend laughing with someone on her phone. I was about to surprise her with a little jump scare when she said, and I quote, "I never meant for this whole thing with my boyfriend to last so long. I'd never normally date someone like him." So she spotted me shortly after saying that. I admit I made a noise I can't even begin to explain, and she heard me. I'd never seen someone go that pale before. She was all wide, teary-eyed, and quivering lips. Girlfriend then spent the next hour or so confessing that she never planned to date me, but once her friends found out she'd given me her number, they found a pic of me online and apparently found me so hilariously unattractive that girlfriend just had to fake date me for a week to give me hope. I wish I was joking. Her friends and apparently girlfriend are all stuck in their mean girl high school phase. Girlfriend agreed, but I guess apparently forgot about it because we've been dating for 8 months, not 1 week. She told me that she was stupid for agreeing with it and that I really was a good bloke and that she really did love me, but she never expected to actually feel that way about me. Why? Because I'm not her usual type of guy. When I asked her to elaborate, she mumbled that she didn't initially find me attractive at all. But after dating for a few weeks, she stopped caring about my looks. I admit I sort of lost my temper here and called her an immature waste of my time. I told her I wished that she dumped me a week into dating because to find out all this crap 8 months in, when I cared about her and loved her, was effing foul.
Raining. I thought you loved me. I do.
And then,
I did love you. It was my friend. No. It was all fake this whole time.
Oh.
Go to prom with someone else.
I'm staying with my mom at the moment because I need space to think and vent. Would I be the a-hole if I dumped my girlfriend for this? No, of course not.
No.
Do the scene where
No.
he's crying
Some
and
things
he's
that
looking out the
people
window,
see-
like he's like holding the pillow, and he's like,
Do you want to be in a rom-com? Do you want to do the sane move? Dump your girlfriend? You can be sane. Or do you want to add a little spice to your life? Be in a rom-com? You have to make the decision for yourself.
Let's get rom-commy. Wow. Okay. Did not expect this much feedback.
Blimey!
So I've turned my phone back on and it's a mess of text, voicemails, and missed calls. I've only listened to a couple, but she's absolutely sobbing her heart out and pleading for me to come home so she can explain. Nothing from her friends, mind you. Just her, which says it all, really. No idea what to do, but now I feel like rubbish. Am I the a-hole? Has no consensus. Here's some comments. Is she still friends with all those mean girls? Given that she was chatting to one of them yesterday, yeah, I think so. Commenter 2 says, not the a-hole. Even if you didn't care about the joke part of it, she didn't go out with you because she wanted to, but was pushed by her friends. And then what? Did she give a play-by-play after your first date? To said friends? Did she share your intimate moments with the friends? Was your first kiss also a joke? Was she hesitant to kiss you because of the joke?
Did she even sing
want to
I
kiss
love you, baby, in the bleachers while you played soccer?
Yeah. It's thoughts like that would drive me nuts because at what point did her joke turn into real affection? Or was she cringing and flinching for those first few dates? How can you be with someone who thought you were gross for how long? Weeks, days? Not the a-hole. OP says that's the same crap on my mind. I mean, she didn't act strange or hesitant when we started dating. She was funny and cute and demanded we hold hands on our second date. But was it all a funny story to tell her friends? Was she laughing at how pathetically happy I was dating someone out of my league? I don't know. It's driving me insane thinking about it. I've already chucked up. I just feel sick and tired and used. Would OP be able to forgive and move on? OP says, I honestly don't know. I love her. She loves me, apparently. But I was a dare date to her, something funny to give hope and then dump once she got her jollies. That she gave up that plan is nice, I guess, but I still feel ugly and laughed at. I really don't know. I have no idea if she even cares. I haven't even looked at my phone. It's been turned off since last night. Struggling with the fact that my loving, funny, very kind girlfriend is apparently a lying, using mean girl who only dated me to break my heart. Sure, she didn't, but she never told me about it. I found out by accident. Was she laughing about it with her friends for months? I have no idea. But the thought makes me ill. I've already upchucked, stressing over it. Downvoted comment here. Really? You want to leave her because she loves you for you? I'm pretty sure there's romantic movies with this setup. It started as a dare, but then he or she fell in love with the person. Does it really matter that it was the dare? She loves you for you, your personality. That's amazing. You probably already know if she's prettier than you and how her former boyfriends look like, so the only surprise is that it wasn't love at first sight. What a strike of luck that her friends had dared her to date you. If they hadn't, maybe she wouldn't have found out what an amazing person you are. OP says, it's really got nothing to do with how unattractive she finds me. It's more the fact that for 8 months, she never told me the truth. That she's still friends with those girls. That I had no idea, but can guess, given that I heard her laughing about it, that she still laughs with her friends about me. I feel used and ugly and small. And yeah, that's the point, is that he heard her going, I never thought I'd be dating this ugly sack of crap for 8 months.
3 months.
Can you believe that?
The thing is, commenter, it would have been a rom-com had she dropped the friends and gone to the prom and gone upstage and been like, I need to make a fool of myself because I need you to know that I love you. And then Avril Lavigne's I'm With You plays.
March 14th, 2 days later. I eventually turned my phone back on after making the original post and was bombarded with voicemails and texts and whatnot. I only listened to a couple, and girlfriend was sobbing her heart out on all of them, more or less begging me to come home and let her explain. To be fair, I didn't really have much choice but to eventually go back home anyway. It's a house share, and I pay rent to live there. Plus, my own mom was basically nudging me back out to let girlfriend explain herself. Back home the next day, and she pretty much tore out of her room and threw herself at me. She was sobbing and trying to talk, but kept crying too hard between her words to sound coherent. I know I should have probably been angrier, but I hate seeing her cry. And she wasn't just crying, she was sobbing so hard she was having trouble breathing at a few points. I got her to sit down and asked her to explain exactly why I should stay with a woman who not only got with me as a dare, but also still laughed about it with her vapid friends 8 months on. A lot was said, and to summarize it so this update doesn't take all night, she more or less said this. Fake names and paraphrasing. Girlfriend, I didn't mean to ask you out on a dare. I wanted to date you before they even knew about you. I gave you my number first, remember? When Stacy and Tina found out I gave you my number, they looked you up on Facebook and found it hilarious that you were even trying with me. So they got this stupid effing dare thing and told me to do it to give all uglies in the world hope. Me.
Wow, real mature. You do remember what you said on the phone to whoever it was, right? That you never meant for us to last this long? You told me I wasn't your type. What's your type, girlfriend? Not me, right? Too ugly for you.
Stop saying that. You're not ugly. You're just not the type of bloke I'd have picked to date long term. But I was wrong, babe. Look at us. We've lasted nearly 9 months. I love you so much. I really do. How can I prove it to you? How?
I don't know, girlfriend. I
know, girlfriend.
I love you too. But all I can think about is you laughing about me behind my back to them. How can I trust you anymore?
I mean, I wasn't meaningfully laughing at you. I swear I wasn't. I just didn't know how to handle Tina any other way. She's always been like this, and I just go along with it to keep the peace.
So you'd rather keep the peace than stand up for me? Is that what you're saying?
You're totally like twisting my words, babe.
No,
stop it.
I'm not. God, why should I stay with you, girlfriend? Seriously, give me a reason. You laughed behind my back. You dated me on a dare given to you by Tina and Stacy, right? And you're still friends with them. You chose them and their cruelty over us and what we have.
But we've been like friends for years, though.
I effing give up.
At this point, it was just back and forth of me trying to walk away and her professing her love and defending her friendship with the Wonder Twins while trying to make me sit back down. I don't know, guys. I'm back home. She's constantly trying to have another talk. I'm tired. Don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Advice would be wonderful because I'm very tempted to just pack it in. And there are some comments here. Comment 1 is, I have too much pride to stay. I'd be second guessing everything all the time. How exhausting. Comment 2, from what I've read, girlfriend failed to resolve the situation. She continues to defend her friends, dismissing their behavior by saying, it's just the way they are. She remains close with these friends, laughs with them at OP's expense, joins in their jokes about him, and allows them to disrespect him without taking any action. Despite all this, she chooses to maintain her friendship with them. To me, this feels like siding with her friends over her boyfriend. Where has she stood up for him? Where has she defended him? Where has she expressed disagreement with the jokes and the disrespectful comments aimed at him? I just don't see it. And there's a third comment. Okay, this update just confirms she's not taking responsibility. She's trying to gaslight you with twisting my words and I love you, but her actions speak louder. She chose those friends over you and she's still trying to justify it. Keeping the peace is just a cop-out for not having a backbone. You deserve someone who will stand up for you, not laugh at you behind your back. And her I didn't mean to act? Oh my God, please. She still knew what she was doing. Don't let her tears and love declarations manipulate you. She's shown you who she is. Believe her. Pack your stuff and go. You'll find someone who respects you. And there's another update. This should be the final update. You'll see why. So here it is. I'll be brief with this because, frankly, I'm done with it all. I tried one last time to get any sort of sense from girlfriend. I sat her down and told her that I'm hurt and beyond disappointed that she didn't have the spine to stand up to her friends, that she'd rather keep the peace over defending the man she repeatedly claims to love. Girlfriend got angry. Told me I was putting her in a position she couldn't possibly win. If she had a go at her friends, she'd lose them, but keep me. But if she refused, she'd keep them, but likely lose me. She told me she genuinely didn't know what the F to do. I said that as long as she's enabling Tina and Stacy's crappy personalities, she'll never stop being their doormat. She just went quiet at that point and said it was only Tina, and then just kind of shrugged. So I told her that the fact she was even struggling to make a choice between them and defending our relationship was enough of an answer for me. I told her that while I'm not the most attractive fella, her and her friends...
No, I'm not the most attractive bloke.
I told her that while I'm not the most attractive bloke, her and her friends were far uglier than I could ever be, and I deserved better.
Oh.
You're ugly on the inside.
Yeah, you're real ugly.
I might not be the hottest man, but you're ugly on the inside.
And on the outside.
And then he
Screw
walks
it, I'll
out.
say it, and
What
I'm going to
song,
call you ugly.
Keon?
Let's see the pot called Kettle Black.
I want you to want me.
I need you to watch that movie. I broke up with her. It was messy.
Easy.
She got physical.
Oh.
Oh,
Not
girl.
violent. Just grabbing on to be real
Okay.
tight, trying to kiss me while offering
Ew.
spicy sleep. That's very
That's pathetic.
She was also full on crying. It was crazy. I've seen her cry and get mad, but I've never seen her like that before. It genuinely disturbed me. I left and I'm back at my mom's for a bit. Now, I know I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 27, but my mom and I have always had a really good relationship, so I told her everything. She listened and didn't interrupt until I was finished. And then she pretty much said what a lot of you told me. She told me I'm handsome.
You're
Mom's-
so handsome.
You're so handsome.
You're so handsome.
You're
Look
so
at this
handsome.
little boy.
And then she's
That's what Dakota's mom did today. You're so handsome.
Yeah, she would. Yeah. Oh, you're so handsome.
Like the grandma's like, you're gonna have so many girlfriends.
Oh,
have
you're
so
gonna
many-
have so many girlfriends. Look at this little lady killer.
She told me that girlfriend is a silly girl who will never have any kind of meaningful relationship as long as she lets her friends bully her around. And then she told me that I'm young and I'll find someone who loves me so much that she'll fight tooth and nail to defend me. I won't lie, I cried a bit. It felt good to feel worth something for once.
Aw.
I didn't really realize how little I felt that way with girlfriend until that conversation with mom. She even made me an apple crumble. Yay.
Aw, your mom sounds lovely.
Mom made me an apple crumble after she told me I was handsome and I felt I was on top of the world. My younger brother, 20 male, still lives with her too. He's been dominating my butt at chess. Bloke's a wizard. I swear. Mom and I had a long chat about my living arrangements and have decided that I'm going to move back in with her in a couple of months.
Smart.
I've spoken to the agency, and unfortunately, they won't let me end the contract early without a payout for the remaining months, so I'm just going to stick around till then and go.
Honestly, if you're already going to be living with your mom, why not just live with your mom?
Why
Like,
not?
presumably, are you paying to live with your mom? Because if you're not paying to live with your mom, you might as well just, like, you
Oh,
can go pick
can't-
up your stuff slowly.
Can't wait to move on from my crappy ex and be like, oh, where do you live? With my mom.
With my mom.
With my
which,
mom?
You
My
know
mom.
what? Honestly,
But his mom sounds great.
it's a very American / Western
Yeah.
culture thing to like,
yeah, to be like, no, you can't live with your parents. It's like
Yeah.
super, super common in most other places.
like pretty much everywhere
Yeah.
else, like you stay close together. But also like people don't move as much as Americans do. Americans move around all the time. And a lot
I've
of
moved out
places,
a
a lot of
lot.
people are like pretty,
Planted.
not stagnant. That's not the right word, but like,
Stationary?
yeah, there we go. There's like a radius that they don't typically leave, and it allows families to stay closer together. It's going to be awkward since we have to live in the same house for a bit longer, but I'll manage. I know some of you really wanted me to work it out with her, but frankly, I have too much self-respect to stay with someone who doesn't care enough to defend me from her friends. Who were those people telling you that? Like, were they her friends? Were a bunch of like bots that she
Who
made?
would be, besides that one comment who was like, it's like a rom-com. Like, who's saying that?
Not to mention, whatever the heck she was trying to do before I dipped out, it seriously freaked me out. And by the way, you would be seriously freaked out by how many full episodes with stories like this we have available for you to listen to on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search the name of our show, OK Storytime, and you will find a little treasure trove of you to dig through. We have a little bit more story here. I'm leaving. You're leaving?
I'm gone.
leaving, dude.
I've been gone, man.
I'm leaving, man.
I'm falling in love with the neighbor next door.
I'm leaving, and I'm showing up.
And then She's the Girl Next Door is playing as I walk over to her house.
Yeah. Thanks, Reddit. You all helped me make a choice between staying and sacrificing my self-respect to be with a woman who doesn't truly love me as much as she claimed, or leaving her in the hopes that I'd find someone better one day. I hope I chose right, but I guess only time will tell. Thank you all. There's some comments here. Still not the a-hole. You made the right choice. Listen to your mommy. She's the only woman in this whole mess that has any sort of sense in her head. As for you crying about it all, good. Cry. You apparently needed it. I wouldn't even wait until you've paid it all off, OP. Get your things and go stay with your mom. No telling what your ex will do. You've got 2 months left, right? Nah, fam. Get out of there. Commenter 2 says, good for you. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Please have someone with you when you go gather your things and record if needed to help protect yourself. She's unhinged and will likely lash out. They say. Commenter 3 says, so sorry, man, but seriously, pay out the lease. Absolutely nothing good will come from living with your ex. He'll either keep trying to force you to reconsider or switch over after her toxic friends get into her head and start treating you like crap. Neither of those are worth staying for, and the cost to get out of it will be so worth it. Best of luck going forward. And that is the end of that story.
Lovely. You got out of there.
You got out of there,
You didn't
dude.
have a rom-com moment, but that's okay. There is a lot of different rom-com plots. We don't have to do this one.
It was a rom realism.
We can do 10 things. How to Lose a Man in 10 Days. We could do...
The Devil Wears Prada?
That's not a rom-com.
Kinda.
No, it's
Crazy
not.
Stupid Love.
Well, yeah.
Crazy
Who's the guy from
My
The Flight of the Conchords?
Yeah, it's not a rom-com, though.
Well, I mean...
He's already dating someone in that. And then they, like, almost break up.
Yeah, because she's...
Not another
she
Cinderella
picks her
story.
career over-
Classic.